everyone. Thanks for tuning in to CNET's live coverage of the Facebook F8 Developers Conference. So CEO Mark Zuckerberg is going to soon be giving a keynote presentation revealing all the new technology that's coming to the social network, as well as what's new on the virtual reality side of the business with Oculus VR. But with all the drama surrounding Facebook these past few weeks, you can be sure the tone is going to be a little different at this year's conference. My name is Bridget Carey, and with me to talk about it are my New York colleagues, Ayaz Akhtar and Ben Fox-Rubin. Now, here's what's going to go down. Zuckerberg is going to be taking the stage shortly, but we're going to be broadcasting that feed when he does. Before his presentation, we're going to be breaking down what you can expect, and we're also going to hear from our reporters at the event on the ground in San Jose, California. Now, if you want to be part of the conversation, hop on over to Twitter, share your thoughts, share your questions, and use the hashtag CNETLive. All right, guys, what's your take on what we're going to see today?
We're going to see nothing but damage control. We've got so many. Okay, fine. Well, see, I said the majority is going to be damage control. We've got lots and lots of stuff that's been going wrong lately for Facebook and the press. You've got all this data breaches. You've got fake news. You've got the hashtag delete Facebook. You've got board members leaving. You've got tons of things happening. And they got to figure out a way to turn things around, because otherwise it's just going to be more of the same dour tone we've been seeing.
And apparently they've already started with the damage control before the event has even started. Mark Zuckerberg went on Facebook ahead of time to say that we've got a new thing called Clear History, which essentially is going to allow you to get rid of more of your history on Facebook a lot more easily. So it's not just a one-way street where you add things into Facebook and have a really hard time deleting them.
Yeah, so it's to get more into Clear History. Basically, if you had any website or app that has got your history, you can clear it, but it's also not very clear how it will work.
It's similar to a web browser.
Yeah.
That's essentially what Zuckerberg specifies about this, but he also said that it'll kind of screw up your preferences a little bit more. Facebook's not going to work the same way or as easily, or maybe you're not going to get as many relevant ads as you had been before if you actually use it.
And I've got the post up right now on my laptop. You got Zuckerberg's post, and you got the properly written version as in the PR newsroom, and they explain this is going to take several months to build your history, and then we're looking forward to doing more. So it's not exactly like it's going to be fully baked when they introduce it in about half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots about the privacy, obviously. Lots of what else have they been doing lately? There's a new data download tool I've read about, where before you could always download your data, but now they're giving you more data to download. I don't know if Zuckerberg's even going to mention that in his presentation, but apparently there is now, it's part of that feeling of, I don't have control. Maybe you'll feel like you have control if you get to see more of what advertisers have on you. But, then again, the clear history erasing is the more control part.
Yeah, a lot of these things I feel remind people about the scandal with Cambridge Analytica and also the election meddling. It's kind of like giving people more tools, increasing transparency. Those are all positives, obviously, but at the same time, F8 is a big, long commercial for Facebook, so it gives them an opportunity to really surprise people, impress people, hopefully blow them out of the water with some cool technology, some cool hardware, and flip the script and maybe...
Facebook and cool don't always go together.
Yeah. They used to a long time ago. Now it's just for the old people, I think. Is that what it is now?
Are we old? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, well think about last year's show. What was the big talk? It was around VR and having Facebook spaces, have an avatar of yourself and have a chat with someone in VR. And there was also some talk about augmented reality in a camera, where you could do more effects on your phone with the camera and having little things float on your camera in whatever you share. But, is it going to be more of that, more VR talk? To make us feel like it's cool? I don't know.
Well, maybe hardware, right? Potentially.
Really? Oculus, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
They've teased the Oculus Go already. We've tried it out, at least at CNET. I think it was the Game Developers Conference.
Right. About a month ago, we gotta look at it. This is the $200 headset. We're seeing Scott Stein, who got a chance to check it out. This is one of those, you don't have to put a phone in it and no connection to a PC. So that's their big sell. Maybe we'll get more information about that.
It's an all-in-one device. It's supposed to cost about $200. Facebook hasn't mentioned when it's coming out yet. And when Scott was reviewing, or at least talking about his hands-on, he had nothing negative to say about this. It seems like it's an entry-level device, and it doesn't give you as much freedom as a much fancier rig, but at $200, and your phone's not locked up into it, it seems like a good way to get people into VR if they're willing to do it. I still think the idea of Facebook Spaces, because VR can be so solitary, to have other people with you could be good, but it's still kind of weird.
Facebook's a software company. If this is the most exciting hardware they got, then this is going to be a boring show.
So there is also the potential of a smart speaker. But
you're talking about that report from Bloomberg?
Happen.
Oh
right.
my gosh.
But apparently they've scrapped plans to show off a smart speaker at this event because of all the controversies. But the idea of them coming out with something like a smart speaker, I think could be really interesting, particularly because they're a social network and a software company. So maybe they would bring something different to the table.
Yeah, but it's not exactly a great time to have a always listening device from Facebook in your home when people don't trust them for privacy, right? So I'm sure they are going to pause on that and put more of a focus on this whole, like, can we even trust Facebook conversation?
And what would you use a Facebook smart speaker for? Like the bots? Would you be able to talk to it that way?
Facebook chatbots have been a disaster to me. I mean,
I don't use them.
it's a strong statement, but exactly, no one uses it. It feels robotic. It doesn't. Well, it's a bot,
it should be.
but but it doesn't. It's missing something still. So are we going to see that they made improvements to their bot chat? I don't know.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean, in general, I feel like they've been a little too lax with their privacy issues, with their privacy controls. It looks like they're at least doing a better job of trying to firm some of those things up. And I would probably expect Mark Zuckerberg to at least start with some sort of like mea culpa, even though he's been doing a lot of apology tour stuff already. Opening up to F8 and talking to the developers specifically about that, that's what this audience is. I think that would probably be a good starting point in building from there.
You know, okay, having developers in the audience, this is supposed to be for them. Mm-hmm. Facebook just made changes so these app developers can get less of our information to sell, or to get less about us so they can target ads, in different ways, not as well targeted. I don't think they're happy right now. I think they want to hear from Facebook on, well, if I can't tell what Bridget likes from all the different other things she does, how am I going to be able to target Bridget better, or whoever it may be, right?
I've been reading reports that some developers are unhappy with it. They don't want to go to the conference, and they're bothering with this because they can't use the platform in the way it used to be used. But that should lead into a whole other set of apps and other developments that we probably wouldn't have foreseen because they have to work with constraints. Mm-hmm. So maybe these apps will be a little bit more respectful about privacy. But you're right, there are going to be a lot of developers who are just ticked that they cannot make the same kind of moves that they used to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, from a consumer perspective, though, guys, like, are you excited about the hardware that we're talking about so far, like the smart speaker or Oculus Go? Do you like the privacy tools? Is this something that, like, if Zuckerberg takes the stage and starts talking about this kind of stuff, would that, be like, hey, that was a pretty good show. These are good things that they're actually pushing forward?
If they can get me to care about AR in any way, I feel like last year it was like a ho-hum kind of thing when we saw the AR camera inside of the Facebook app, and that was just a beta. And as Facebook Spaces, I'm not excited about VR. I'm just kind of going, all right, that's cool. Like, I can talk to people virtually. Okay, thanks.
Well, I think at a $200 price point, at least as a starter, that's not a bad entry-level device. And if that thing gets further down to like $149 and $99 at one point, which that probably happened in a year and a half, then people get excited about it.
Yeah, $100. I'd buy into the tech just to have it around whenever there's a video to see. Yeah,
it's a lot of buy-in. You have to have this one device, and you can share it, but it's still a little weird because it's this personal device that's on your face. So I think that's the biggest problem with VR in general.
But
is these headsets.
No phone you have to stick into it. So
right.
I do like that, but yeah, 200 is still not quite at the sweet spot, maybe.
So I'm excited where this is going. I mean, if you want VR to go mainstream at some point, you have to have these entry-level devices come at a price point that is not as terrifying, because otherwise you're looking at thousands of dollars if you want to have a rig that can run HTC Vive. You can get the Vive at a certain price, but you need a PC for it. Not needing a PC or a separate phone, that could get some people, but still, price is the price.
I think VR, if that's where they want to focus on, maybe that's a little bit more targeted for them. It's hardware, so that could get people excited. But we were talking before the show about, what was it, the 2016 F8, where they were presenting this. Zuckerberg was presenting this like 10-year, 20-year.
Yeah, I've got that roadmap up on my laptop right now.
Literally including things
going
like
back
lasers.
In time.
Yeah, but like
wait, where are the lasers on the photo?
Lasers are here. I'm not making this up. You've got connectivity, drones, satellites, lasers, terrestrial solutions, telco infra, and free basics. Right here, this is their plan from 2 years ago.
Oh, you're going to hear a lot of that positive spin about Facebook connecting the world, Ben. We're doing good. Forget the Russian trolls. We are connecting the world with laser beams and airplanes. And I don't know how much they're going to dwell on that, honestly. But I think one thing my ears are going to be perking up for is how many ways Zuckerberg is going to say that AI computers are going to solve their problems that computers have started, which is the whole mess we're in right now. I feel like he wants to throw more AI at being able to solve the problems of fake news or just in general all the nastiness that we're hearing about. But can more AI fix the problem?
Just ahead of the event too, we saw that they were beta testing something else, right? That
downvoting you're talking about? Or
not
no?
Downvoting,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Is this hate speech?
Right, okay, so yeah, there's been some reports up where people are going on their Facebook feed, and I think we can throw up some of the photos too, where on the bottom of every single post there is an exclamation mark alert asking, does this post contain hate speech? Here's one that someone posted on Twitter where underneath an ad for going to the Bahamas, there is does this post contain hate speech? If you have to rely on everyone, this is probably a test that went wrong. I don't know if it's supposed to go live or not. Maybe it's just a small test. But if you have to rely on people just hitting yes or no on if something they see is hate speech, man, that doesn't seem like that's the smart approach.
You would expect Facebook to do a much better job with that. This seemed like a very clunky approach to trying to do something like that. Like if you're looking at a baby picture or a picture of somebody's cat and you have something, is this hate speech on the bottom?
It depends what they're doing. This cat,
right? It could be.
Cats are interesting.
It could be a bad cat.
Well, it goes the same with the upvoting and downvoting comments. It's a thing that's being tested now in New Zealand and Australia, where you can, just like on Reddit, upvote and downvote a comment on someone's post. Are people going to be able to use that in the same way that they do on Reddit? Are they just going to downvote things they disagree with, or downvote truly, things that aren't great for the conversation?
It sounds like being able to just superpower the echo chamber a little bit more. Like people complain that your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed is already an echo chamber of like-minded people. If now you're going to be downvoting, I feel like that might be one of the negatives of it.
That is absolutely a great point, because if I go in and I have friends who disagree with me politically or whatever it may be, and I want to actually have a conversation, you're just going to get everyone just dogpiling on you with downvotes, not wanting to have a conversation.
Well, the thing is, any of these systems could be gamed, right? You can game Reddit, you can game this dislike button, or not, they don't want to call it dislike button, downvote button that's being tested. You can game pretty much anything. So the question is whether their AI technologies are going to be able to correct for this or not. And I think Zuckerberg in his testimony had said to be able to identify hate speech and things that shouldn't be on Facebook would take several years for the AI to get anywhere close, which is reasonable considering there's how much data being posted per day from regular people, bots, and everything else. You've got tons and tons of bad actors, good actors on this site, and that's a huge, huge responsibility for Facebook to try to regulate.
Yeah, not only that, but machines in general don't understand nuance or sarcasm. Sometimes
you
say
there's a lot
something.
of nuance in conversation that, like I had a friend on Facebook this week say he got blocked from Facebook because he was just complaining about something, and he said, I hate white people. And he was instant. He says, "Oh, I've been blocked for saying this." And did he really mean hate speech against white people? I don't know. But clearly, Facebook doesn't know how to control or know what is what, and it takes it's nuanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now I'm thinking about this. Remember, YouTube's got a very similar problem when it comes to hate speech and really bizarre content being on there for years, copyright content, all of this stuff, and they had to figure out ways, and they're still figuring it out. Because as a platform gets as large as a YouTube or Facebook, you run into this problem because you can't police everything knee-jerk. Like, do these 3 words mean what I think they mean in this particular context? If the videos start this way, and in the middle it turns awful, it's going to take a lot of time.
Are we too sensitive then? Should we not be policing it as much? I mean, is Facebook trying too hard to police if you can't do it?
No, I don't think that. I think they could be trying harder. Everyone's going to think that. But the thing is, it's just, it sounds like I'm being an apologist. This is growing pains. They have, 2.2 billion users, monthly active users? Anybody else would kill to have that kind of number. Well, maybe not kill, but they would do other things to get that number. And when you reach this critical mass, you have to figure out what you're doing, right? So It's going to be, I think the next generation of humans will understand that Facebook is not where they should be going for trusted news sources unless Facebook has totally changed in 30 years, but assuming it survives 30 years. So it's just a learning curve. Like just, back when I was a kid and you go to the supermarket and you see the picture of the Bat Boy from National Enquirer, you're like, well, that's not real. Mom says it's not real, so it's not real. But nobody's telling anybody on Facebook, this stuff is not as legitimate as it could be.
Well, we do have someone who is real on the line right now at Skype, on the floor. We have Lexi Savides from CNET on the line, calling in from Skype from her phone. All right. Hi, Lexi. Can you hear us?
Hi, Bridget. Hi, Ben. How are you guys doing? Hello from San Jose over on the West Coast. It is bright and early here, and I am live inside Facebook FA Big Developer Conference, and there is a lot of people here. It seems like a much bigger crowd than last year. We've actually moved, so last year it was in the actual theater across the road from the convention center. This year it's in the convention center itself, much bigger space. There's lots of tables for the press and then actual developers and attendees in front of us and all around. Kind of funny, you can usually tell the vibe of one of these conferences by the music that's being played. So usually it's kind of like, deep, heavy techno house, things to amp you up. This morning it's been a little bit more mellow and kind of funny. We also heard the theme from Mad Men, that song. So, I don't know if they're sort of saying something, especially after, as Rich Nieva said, who's just sitting over here, our Facebook reporter. Say hi, Rich. he mentioned that it's kind of funny that they're playing that, given, obviously all of the issues around advertising and data that's happened this year for Facebook. So it's really interesting that they chose to play that song. And I can stand up and give you guys a little bit of a view. Let me see if I can flip the camera.
It's very blue.
Nice. Very, very blue, yeah. So it's giving everyone a nice little avatar style look here. But this gives you a bit of a look inside.
This is
a little
huge.
bit fuzzier. Yeah, it's massive. And this is like halfway down. Look how far back it goes. I don't know if the picture's clear enough, but it's very dark. But it goes all the way back to those blue lights on the curtain back there. So absolutely huge. Massive crowd, and obviously everyone here is, really thinking, what's the first thing that that Mark is going to talk about? It's got to be privacy. It's got to be the big question about data. So I'm expecting Mark to come out and sort of just off the bat start talking about that, because that's the big question on everyone's lips. Like, what's he going to say? So looking forward to that and seeing what he has to say. And there's also a lot of Oculus demos lined up around the actual conference center and in the press room, lots of VR stuff. So I'm assuming there's going to be a big emphasis on that too during the keynote.
Do you have like an agenda of like what's going to happen after Zuckerberg talks for the keynote? Are there any like demos that are on your like to-do list?
So there's a lot of things happening. There are a lot of sessions. Now, unfortunately, with a lot of the sessions, you can't take your camera in. We've been told that explicitly. So there'll be no broadcasting from inside the sessions. There's a few on, artificial intelligence. There's some on Oculus. It's all across the board on what Facebook covers, news and so on, and live streaming and broadcasting. But if I go into them, it definitely won't be reporting live, because there's a big no filming policy, I'm afraid. But I'm hoping that there'll be some cool demos like there were last year. We saw there was Facebook Spaces, which was that like avatar in virtual reality. I got to try that last year. So if there's something like that, I'm hoping that just out in the general areas, I'll be able to get some hands-on time and show you guys.
Are there any Oculus Go's under your seat? Or have you ever checked under your seat?
Oh, good point. I haven't checked. Let's have a look. Yeah, right under the seat. This is reporting for you, everybody. Can you see anything?
What do we have?
Can you see anything? No, nothing.
It's our privacy rights. You have that. That's what it is. Under your seat, privacy rights. You got none.
Exactly. One thing I do like though, just quickly, I'll show you. Look at this. I'm such a geek. I love this. Power strips on the table with my laptop. Like, look at that. Seriously, that's a nice touch.
I think they know how to make the reporters happy. I think I've been to so many of these events where there's no power, there's no Wi-Fi, and they want to really make the press very comfortable and happy and not complaining.
Exactly. Well, look, I went on to LTE because the Wi-Fi actually got really slow, so I switched over. But I'll see if I switch back. For non-video tasks, it seems to be okay. But we'll see how we go.
So when you're in line, I mean, is everyone just whispering constantly that you can overhear talking about privacy, or is there any other more excitement about one thing or another?
It's really the hot topic on everyone's lips. I mean, obviously, as soon as the Facebook news dropped, literally like 20 minutes before we walked into this area, about the clear history, clearing your browser history within Facebook and all the data that's used and gathered about what you're doing from other sites, that was a big news. Like everyone sort of started going, oh, did you see what just dropped? So that was big, and I'm assuming that that's going to be a large part of what Mark is going to talk about in a couple of minutes. It's coming up really soon. So yeah, as soon as that happened, everyone was like, what? Oh, okay. Scrambling to kind of, see what it was all about and make sure that everyone had the coverage up.
Well, thanks for giving us a peek inside. I guess we are looking forward to other kind of demos. I think when you did Facebook Spaces last year, that was pretty cool because you got to like change your hair and stuff. I don't know what they're going to be doing now on the software side, but I guess we'll wait and see. And when we're done, we're going to come back to you too to see what else they got going on, right?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys after the keynote and enjoy the show.
All right, thanks, Lexi.
Bye.
Very blue.
Very big blue room right there. It's not just somber, it's just blue, literally the color. Yeah, and there's a lot of people in that room, and there's going to be tons and tons of viewpoints and opinions based on whatever Zuckerberg says. He's been watched so closely in the past, I don't know, recent memory, let alone all the rest of his life. At this point, he's got to come out. We're going to see a Zuckerbot, or we're going to see a more friendly Zuckerberg? What do we think we're going to see?
He had his chance to be friendly during I don't know. I have my opinions. But during the congressional hearings, there were so many easy ways for him to crack a smile or to make a joke or just be at ease after hours, and he was just still the stiff guy. So maybe he'll have some jokes written in his script. I mean, last year he made some jokes about like Fast and the Furious F8, movie coming out, and it was kind of like, eh. So he's never really one to joke, I guess. He's not.
Yeah, this is a little bit. This is much more scripted, and it's much more his own place. Like he created this house, and he's the boss in it. So I feel like he's generally more comfortable in this type of situation than obviously a congressional hearing where he's getting lobbed all sorts of questions about like, how did you create this company that's now this horrible monster? So plus he's also
it's like everyone in attendance gets Facebook. He has enough to explain the internet to everyone in attendance.
And to a certain extent, a lot of people want to see it succeed. They want to see him succeed. These developers, they make money off of the platform, and they want to see it continue to grow. So to that extent, I think that you're probably going to see Zuckerberg show off, be out on his own as best as he can be. He never really, to me, ever came off as being, kind of the somebody that you would go and have a beer with. But at the same time,
still would, but yeah.
Right. That'd be a very interesting experience as he orders a beer that he's killed himself.
Good point.
The very odd Mark Zuckerberg New Year's challenges where he does all kinds of bizarre things.
Yes. Yeah, in case no one's getting it.
Yeah, if you're not getting that.
He does actually hunt and eat his own food that he
Well, he did that one year.
Yeah, I don't know if he still does it, but
so
that was a big deal.
I did want to mention one point, going back to what you had mentioned about the 2.2 billion monthly active users. Facebook financially is doing great. They came out with their first quarter earnings, and the numbers are all looking really fantastic. So despite all these concerns that we're talking about from the dollars and cents perspective, this company is very healthy, very strong, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Not going anywhere, but are people's attitudes in how they're using it changing? Anecdotally, people I know, all my friends, they still have Facebook, but I hear more and more, I delete it off my phone and I only use it when I'm at the computer. I don't really upload my family photos on that as much. I'd rather do it on Instagram. And so are you watching as much on video? That's where they want to make money. That's where they want to grow. Are people watching Facebook video as long? Or are they just scrolling, seeing the news, moving on to another network?
It's funny that you say that. Oh, they go to Instagram. That's what I did too. I'm like off of Facebook, but I'm not really off of Facebook. I'm at Instagram, which is also Facebook. So this is because there's an alternative. And also that was at the hearings. What are Facebook's competitors? And it's like, Instagram. But you own Instagram, so that's fine. They have enough alternatives that even if you really hate the proper Facebook experience, you can go to Instagram and just have all of these beautiful pictures and video ads there too, or just videos there. So they have enough options. You don't want any of that? Go to WhatsApp. There you go. I'll just talk to you guys. Wait, that's also Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got to go somewhere else.
Bridget, not to say your friends are a bunch of liars, but I would probably say a lot of people love to hate Facebook. And they say publicly, oh, I deleted it off my phone, or I don't use it as much, but I think that their own personal experience is very different. So the hashtag delete Facebook movement, I don't really see that as having a material impact on the company in any way, because Facebook got really good at being addictive. People like going on there and just going through the news feed. So
they don't not like it, but they don't know why they're doing it, but they're doing it because we're hooked, right? And so, yeah, that was another conversation earlier this year. What responsibility do these companies have to help us not be so addicted to our phones? I think Facebook doesn't have to address that at all with everything else that they're doing. They're not going to get close to that.
You can put the phone down. Just put this over your eyes.
Yeah.
You're fine. That'll help. Okay, not a problem. We got this.
We got the tech for your face, so you can put down the Facebook, right?
Exactly. Put the face back in the face. That's the whole point. But so the monthly active user numbers includes people who log in using Facebook, right? So you don't necessarily have to even go to this site.
Oh, you mean like apps when you log in with an app? Okay.
Like Instagram as well. So even if people say, I'm not using Facebook, they still might be using Facebook.
Yes. Yeah, and that's how they get such a big number. I mean, 2.2 billion, just from a broad perspective, what is that? That's 1 in 3 people in the world, which from a platform perspective is staggering. They're probably not going to grow as quickly as they used to, but at the same time, it's incredible to think about how many people have been or go on Facebook or use Facebook services or log in with Facebook on any given month. So yeah, they have an enormous amount of power, and with that comes an enormous amount of Spider-Man responsibility.
Thank you, Uncle Ben.
I am Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben Fox Rubin, everybody.
Okay, so where were we last year? People were talking about Facebook and the fake news problem after the election. Will Zuckerberg address this? And you know what? He kind of touched on it and just moved right along and kept things upbeat. But things haven't changed that much. People, are still using Facebook, like you're saying. Is this a bunch of complaining that they, are they feeling pressure at all? Then, if nothing's changing on the number side, where's the pressure? I think there is some pressure still.
There is. The controversies, I would argue, have gotten worse. The election trolling situation was obviously bad. Cambridge Analytica blew up for Facebook in a much more significant way. This was the first time that Mark Zuckerberg ever had to do congressional hearings. So there is a lot of pressure on the company to make changes. We're seeing that with Clear History. That is something that they were probably loath to do for a really long time because they love gobbling up your data and they'd rather keep it for a really, really long time. So we are seeing some changes in Facebook. It'll be interesting to see if they continue, if they keep this up, or they just do just enough to move on from the controversies.
I think they need things to get the generation that has always been on Facebook to want to participate more and not just passively read. Because if you get people who just log on, scroll, and leave, that weakens the relationship.
Yeah,
I can explain why they have the download button potentially. They could have these changes. Is this hate speech? They're actually bringing you into the process. Maybe that'll get you to participate. But I mean, it's a massively large platform, and they've got to figure out what they're going to do with that. But 2.2 billion people, what else can you do? At some point, you can be like, okay, that's enough humans. That's it.
It's never enough. That's why they were developing the lasers in the first place. They were going to bring the internet to the developing world.
With airplanes.
And balloons
satellites.
and
That's the only way to grow, is to give the internet to places that don't have internet.
Yeah,
right?
like remote access areas that didn't have the
Facebook Lite
internet.
on phones that can't handle this massive app that I have on my iPhone, right?
Or the 6 apps that they have: the Messenger, camera, Facebook, Instagram.
But yeah, I think that ultimately they're not going to talk about these big world gobbling concepts. This was from 2 years ago, before all the scandals happened, and that's probably why they didn't move forward with doing the smart speaker, because of the privacy concerns. So
a more humble approach. Zuckerberg did recently kind of say his focus was going to be more about communities, right? He says, you know what, to fix the problems of Facebook, we want to focus more on the little network that you have with your neighborhood, the little knitting network you have, or this motorcycle enthusiast club, and that's the way you're going to grow that interaction. So while we're talking about how we're annoyed what we see on our feed as we scroll by, but maybe you'll care more about that small group of 10 to 20 people that are really into that one interest you have. So I wonder how much of we're going to hear about communities talk, considering that was his priority he talked about a couple months ago.
Definitely.
I don't know, are you in communities? Like, those are the things that I'm actually in.
No, but I use WhatsApp for that stuff all the time. So it goes back to the point that we were making before, that even if you're not using Facebook proper for some of these things, Facebook did a really good job of gobbling up some of its competitors. So it's really hard to socialize on the internet without actually using their universe of apps, unless you were on Google+, I guess.
All right, guys, I just got word from my producer. New development, f8.com is down.
Oh, God.
Is it?
Yeah, so it looks like the page for this conference
Yeah, I'm also seeing that.
just went down.
You're stuck with us for a little bit longer than people.
Maybe they're getting the feed
figure
ready
it
because
out.
it was supposed to go live right now.
It's literally, this is what you're seeing. Error 503.
Feeling pretty good about how Facebook can handle, all of our data.
This
if they can't
somehow
even handle
reminds
a
me
live
of
stream.
CES. We had the CES blackout, and now this. I'm going to check this on my phone, too.
All right. Well, when this does get back up, the game plan is that Zuckerberg is going to take the stage, and we will throw to that feed when that happens. It's supposed to go for about 90 minutes, and then stick with us. And while you're watching, share your thoughts on Twitter with the hashtag CNET Live. Tell us what your questions are, your comments as it goes on, because as soon as it ends, we're going to come back here and digest it all and take your questions. Are there any questions so far in the feed right now?
There's one. It's do you think that Facebook will take more control of fake news from Joseph?
More control of fake news.
That's what he says.
So choosing what is or isn't fake news, that's a touchy little area. Because if you start saying what is and isn't news, then you become more of a media company, and that you're trying not to have the label media company, because then you have to undergo more regulations.
More scrutiny.
Yeah. I think they've already talked a lot about trying to do initiatives around fake news and partnering with media companies so they themselves don't have to do it directly. So I would expect maybe they won't touch on that. I think that my expectation is that they're going to touch a lot on the privacy concerns. They've already primed the audience for that with Clear History and some of the other things. Are they going to go on fake news too? I don't know. That's a lot for people to digest.
That's a lot of negative too.
Exactly.
You want to keep it positive, right?
Didn't we see Google do something similar? Essentially create a consortium that can validate and just have a little tag. So Facebook necessarily isn't being the one to judge what's fake or not. It would be this consortium, and they could have a little, a verified check of, this is from the consortium says this is real, which I think that would be probably smarter for them, so they don't have to deal with the intricacies of being a media company.
Right. Then again, Google still gets a lot of complaints and flack for the fact that they have an algorithm that can be worked, like you said before. They know that is still picking and choosing what is hot and what is not on the top of your feeds. So you can have that consortium, but...
So Zuckerberg might actually be able to avoid talking about too many negatives by just doing a catch-all type of situation to say that, we have these tools and we would send them out into the public.
Oh, I think they're going live, so I guess the website's working again. But all right, we're going to go right now to Zuckerberg. He's talking at the F8 conference. It's going to last 90 minutes, and stick with us. Hashtag CNET Live your thoughts, and we'll come back to the post show.
About the future. We have real challenges to address, but we have to keep that sense of optimism too. What I've learned this year is that we need to take a broader view of our responsibility. It's not enough to just build powerful tools. We need to make sure that they're used for good, and we will. Now, we're idealistic, and we've always focused on all the good that connecting people can bring. And there's a lot of it. Just since the last F8, we've seen the Me Too movement and the March for Our Lives organized at least part on Facebook. We've seen people come together after Hurricane Harvey to raise more than $20 million for relief. And we've seen more than 80 million small businesses use these tools to grow and create jobs. But we've also seen people try to use these tools for harm. And that goes for Russia interfering in elections, for fake news, for hate speech, and for data privacy issues. So we're investing a lot to address these issues and keep people safe. And I'm going to go through all of that head on in just a minute, because I think it's important that everyone here knows exactly what we're doing to address them. But we also have a responsibility to move forward on everything else that our community expects from us too. To keep building services that help us connect in meaningful new ways as well. You know, the hardest decision that I made this year wasn't to invest so much in safety and security. You know, that decision was easy, right? I just went to the people who were running those teams and asked them how much we could possibly invest productively, and then I transferred all those people to them. The hard part was figuring out a way to move forward on everything else that we need to do too. You know, recently, I was having a conversation about what Facebook stands for. Or what is that basic idea that the world would lose if Facebook went away? When I was getting started with Facebook back in 2004, what struck me was you could go online at that time and find almost anything. Or you could look up any information, you could find any product, you could read news, you could download movies and music. You could find almost anything except for the thing that matters to us most: people. So I started building a service to do that, to put people first and at the center of our experience with technology. Because our relationships are what matters most to us. You know, that's how we find meaning and how we make sense of our place in the world. Now, we're not the only ones to build a communication service. But we are the ones who do it again and again in all of the different ways that people want to interact online. This is our DNA. And we have built and grown service after service that put people and our connections and our relationships at the center of the experience. And we've come a long way. But when I look out today, it still surprises me how little of the technology that our industry produces is designed to put people first. Our phones are still designed around apps. Well, that's not how we think. Now, I believe that we need to design technology to help bring people closer together. And I believe that that's not going to happen on its own. And so to do that, part of the solution, just part of it, is that one day, more of our technology is going to need to focus on people and our relationships. Now, there's no guarantee that we get this right. And this is hard stuff. We will make mistakes, and they will have consequences, and we will need to fix them. But what I can guarantee is that if we don't work on this, the world isn't moving in this direction by itself. So that is what we are all here to do. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to start by talking about keeping people safe, and then we're going to discuss all the things we're doing to keep building services to help us connect in meaningful new ways. And I want to start today by talking about protecting something that is really incredibly important to all of us, and that is the integrity of our elections. In 2016, we were slow to identify Russian interference. We expected more traditional cyber attacks like phishing and malware and hacking, and we identified those and notified the right people. But we didn't expect these coordinated information operations and large networks of fake accounts that we're now aware of. So I sat down with our teams after this, and we said, we will never be unprepared for this again. And since then, there have been important elections like the French presidential election, the German elections, the Alabama Senate special election last year, and we've been more prepared. We deployed new AI tools that successfully identified and took down tens of thousands of fake accounts before they could do anything. We've traced the fake account network back to Russia and taken down their network. We're doing more. We're requiring everyone running political and issue ads or running large pages to be verified with a government ID. We're making ads more transparent. So now you're going to be able to see who is running a political ad, who they're targeting, how much they're spending, and most importantly, what other messages they're sending to different people. That is a higher standard of transparency than TV ads, than print ads, or anything else you will find on the internet. By the end of this year, we will have 20,000 people working on security and content review at Facebook. And we've created an independent election research commission so independent academics can give us ideas and hold us accountable to make sure that these systems work. Now, this is an important election year. Not only the big US midterms that are coming up, but there are major elections around the world. In Mexico and Brazil, there are elections coming up in India and Pakistan and more, and we are focused on this. Beyond elections, we are focused on fighting fake news more broadly. And there are really 3 categories that we're focused on here. The first category is just spam. Right? These are people who aren't ideological. They just want to make money, hawking the most sensationalist junk that they can come up with to get you all to click on it. These are the people who in the 90s would have been sending you Viagra emails. And the playbook here is pretty simple. Right? It's to take down their ads on their sites so they can't make money, build tools to detect and reduce the distribution to remove their economic incentive, and then eventually they just go do something else to go make money. And we're starting to see this. The second category is fake accounts. And the idea here is less focused on looking at the content specifically and more focused on trying to find bad actors and getting them off the network. So some of this is nation states who are politically motivated, like we talked about before. But all of this we're fighting in the same way, with AI tools, with thousands of content reviewers, and verifying people who are running large pages and running sensitive ads. Now, the third category is real people who are just sharing provably false hoaxes. And the playbook here is building tools to get better at flagging content that is going viral, so fact checkers can look at it so we can show it less, and for the people who do see it, to make sure that they see related articles that are more accurate, that put this in context so people can understand what's really going on. So a lot of the work over the last year and a half has been bringing on more and more fact-checking partners all around the world in different countries who speak all of the different languages that we need to cover. So there's a lot more here to do. But these are the 3 basic categories, and we are making good progress on all of them. I also want to talk about data privacy. What happened with Cambridge Analytica was a major breach of trust. An app developer took data that people had shared with them and sold it. So we need to make sure that this never happens again. So we're taking a number of steps here. First, as you all know, we're restricting the data that developers will be able to request from people. Now, the good news here is that back in 2014, we already made a major change to how the platform works to prevent people from sharing a lot of their friends' information. So this specific situation could not happen again today. And since then, we've taken a lot more steps as well to restrict other data. But there's still more steps that we're taking to do this even further with groups and events and the data available through login to prevent future issues that might come up. Second, we need to make sure that we find any other bad apps that are out there. So we're currently in the process of investigating every single app that had access to a large amount of people's information before we made these big changes in 2014. And if we find anything suspicious, we're going to bring in independent auditors to do a full audit. And if any data was misused, then we'll ban that developer, and we will tell anyone whose data was affected. We've also started putting a tool in front of everyone that shows them all of the apps that they are using and lets them easily remove access to the ones that they no longer want to use. And with the GDPR coming up in Europe, we're asking everyone around the world, not just in Europe, to review your privacy controls. So to all the developers who are here, I know that the vast majority of you are focused on building good things. We need to take these steps to make sure that everyone on our platform is focused on building good things. And I believe that putting in these stronger protections now will give you more ability to keep building for the long term. Now, I also want to share one new thing that we're working on with data privacy. And we have a lot more updates like this coming. But this is an example of the kind of thing that we are working on. In your web browser, you today have a simple way to clear your cookies and clear your browsing history. Right? And the idea is that a lot of sites need this data to work. You need cookies. But you should have the ability to go in and clear your history at any point that you want. So we're working on a version of this for Facebook too. It's a simple control where you can clear your browsing history, what you've clicked on, the websites you've visited, and so on. And we're going to call it Clear History. And we're starting with something that a lot of people have asked about recently, and that's the information that we get from websites and apps who are using Facebook's advertising and analytics tools. So you're going to be able to use this tool to see the information about the apps and websites you've interacted with. You'll be able to clear all this information from your account, and you'll even be able to turn it off, having this information stored with your account going forward. Now, to be clear, when you clear your cookies in a browser, it can make parts of your experience worse. Or you may have to sign back into dozens of websites. You may have to reconfigure some things. And the same is going to be true here. Or your Facebook won't be quite as good while it relearns your preferences. But after going through our systems, this is the kind of control that we think that people should have. So we're building this, and we're going to have a lot more like this to talk about soon. So overall, we're going to keep investing heavily in security and privacy. But security isn't a problem that you ever fully solve. Right? This is an arms race. And we're going to be working to stay ahead of our adversaries forever. So while we're doing this, we also have a responsibility to keep building services that bring people together in new ways. Now, if you've been to F8 before, you've seen this. This is our 10-year product roadmap, and it sets out all the different areas that we're working on and when we expect these ecosystems to be fully developed. And across all our products, our goal is to give everyone in the world the power to share anything they want with anyone, anywhere. To build stronger relationships, to break down geographic barriers, and to meet new people and interact in new ways. We have a lot to do here. So we are going to focus on we're going to keep building, even while we focus on keeping people safe. And we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing across the rest of the family of apps for the rest of today. So let's start with the Facebook app. Like all of you, we want to build something that's not just fun to use, but is good for people. So we've done a lot of research to understand what parts of the internet and social media are good for our well-being and which parts aren't. And the summary is that when you're using the internet to interact and to build relationships, then that is associated and correlated with all of the positive aspects of well-being that you'd expect. Better long-term health, better long-term happiness, feeling more connected, feeling less lonely, and so on. But when you're just using the internet to consume content passively, whether that's video or news, then that is not associated with these same benefits to well-being. And we've heard this feedback from a lot of people, too. People want Facebook to be about friends and interacting with people. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to talk about a few new ways that we're focused on taking the experience in this direction. We're rolling out something that we call Watch Party, which lets you watch video and chat with your friends. So let's say that your friend is testifying in Congress. For example. Now you're going to be able to bring your friends together, and you can laugh together, and you can cry together. Some of my friends actually did this. Let's not do that again anytime soon. People often tell us that groups are the most meaningful part of Facebook. You can feel like you belong in a community. You can meet new people who share your values. For some people, this might be a support group for new parents. For others, it might be about a disease you have. For others, it might be about finding people to come together and volunteer with. People want to be a part of meaningful communities. So today, we're launching a new Groups tab to make groups more central to the overall Facebook experience. So for me, I'm going to have all my groups in one place, my family group, my running group, my game group, my sheepdog appreciation groups, all in one place. Now, to help more people grow their communities, we're building a join group button and plugin that admins and developers can add to their websites and their emails. This is important because a lot of what we need to do to help more meaningful groups form is just give more tools to creators. Every great community has engaged leaders. So a lot of what we need to do is just give more people the tools to be community leaders. All right, now, talking about meaningful relationships, did you know that 1 in 3 marriages in the United States start online? And I can't tell you how many times I'll be walking down the street in some city and a couple will come up to me and they'll say that they met on Facebook, and sometimes they have their kids with them, and they'll just point to them and they'll say thank you. And I have to say, I mean, these are some of the moments that I'm really proud of what we're doing, right? I know that we're making a positive difference in people's lives. But the reality is, today, we haven't even built any features to help people find partners. There are 200 million people on Facebook who list themselves as single, so clearly there's something to do here. And if we're focused on helping people build meaningful relationships, then this is perhaps the most meaningful of all. So today, we are announcing a new set of features coming soon around dating. Now, this is going to be for building real long-term relationships, all right, not just hookups. It's going to be in the Facebook app, but it's totally optional. It's opt-in. If you want, you can make a dating profile. And I know a lot of you are going to have questions about this, so I want to be clear that we have designed this with privacy and safety in mind from the beginning. Your friends aren't going to see your profile. You're only going to be suggested people who are not your friends, who have opted into dating, who fit your preferences, although I can't promise that you're going to get email. It's a tough world. All right, Chris Cox will come up in a bit and walk you through this in more detail, because I want to make sure that you all see all the details here that we've built in around privacy and safety. But the bottom line is we want Facebook to be somewhere where you can start meaningful relationships. So we're excited to start rolling this out soon. Now, another way to help people connect in new ways is through commerce. We started building Marketplace because we saw that one of the most popular uses for groups was building these buy and sell groups. So people would start groups like Bay Area Moms Buy and Sell, where people would be able to come together and ask for advice on all the gear they needed, and meet people who are like them, and can ultimately buy and sell things with people who they have something in common with. Now, Marketplace is now live in more than 70 countries. More than 800 million people around the world use it monthly, including more than 1 in 3 people on Facebook in the US. So this is starting to be a pretty big deal. And it's helping people earn more income and connect in a new way. All right, so this is Facebook. We are focused on helping people build relationships with friends and family, with groups, and meeting and interacting with new people. Now let's talk about Instagram. So our focus here is helping people capture any moment they want and come together around shared interests. Some of the best stories that we hear are around ad hoc communities that spring up on Instagram. More than 200 million people use Explore on Instagram every day. Since we launched hashtag following in just last December, more than 100 million people now follow hashtag. So we want to make it even easier to find the communities for the things that you're interested in. So we're launching a completely new design for Explore that is going to organize the content around topic channels now. So now your Explorer is going to be even more focused on the things you're interested in. We're also focused on new ways that people are going to be able to use Instagram to communicate and build stronger relationships. So it turns out that a lot of people are using live video basically just to hang out when you can't be physically together. Right? It's amazing how much of all of our use of these social tools is just to get as close to feeling like we're there with someone when we can't physically be there. So today, to make this easier, we're announcing video chat and Instagram. You're going to be able to just tap on a new camera icon right in the the top of any direct thread that you have, and you're going to be able to video chat one-on-one or with groups. You're going to be able to minimize the video while you're chatting and using Instagram. And I think that this is going to be a really big deal, and people are really going to like this. We are also building more creative ways for people to share on Instagram. Last year at F8, we announced the AR camera effects platform, and today we are bringing it to Instagram. So now anyone is going to be able to build face filters and effects, and when you go to your camera, you're going to be able to see effects that are relevant to you and from the accounts that you follow. And if you're browsing stories and you see a cool effect, you'll always be able to try it on. So we're excited to get this in people's hands soon. All right. Now let's talk about WhatsApp. So here, our focus is on building new ways for people to connect privately with close friends and groups and businesses. Now, before we dive in here, I just want to say, yesterday, Jan Koum, the founder of WhatsApp, announced that he is leaving us and moving on. And I just want to take a moment to thank Jan, because Jan has done an amazing job building WhatsApp. He has been a tireless advocate for privacy and encryption. A lot of you probably don't know this or remember this, but when WhatsApp joined us in 2014, we actually hadn't rolled out full end-to-end encryption yet. Jan and I talked about how to do this together, and one of the things that I'm most proud of is that we have built the largest fully encrypted communication network in the world, and this would not have happened without Jan, and I'm deeply grateful for the work that he has done. So please join me in thanking him. All right, now video calling is also one of the most popular features on WhatsApp already. When I'm traveling and I can't be there to put my girls to bed at night, it's really nice to just be able to see their face and talk to them. And a lot of people agree. Right? Around the world, people are already making more than 2 billion minutes of voice and video calls on WhatsApp alone. And today, we're announcing that we're bringing group video calling to WhatsApp soon, too. All right, I want to talk about stories for a minute. So across our whole family, we've really gone all in on stories as a format for being able to quickly share video and photos throughout your day. And in each of the apps that we've launched it's evolved to be somewhat different, but it's grown quickly. Instagram was the first to really take off here. Facebook started a lot slower, but is now starting to grow quickly too and do well. But WhatsApp has been by far the biggest of these products. More than 450 million people use WhatsApp status every day, and it's growing really quickly. So the next phase for WhatsApp, beyond just communicating with your friends and family, is going to be helping people connect with businesses as well. And today, a lot of people don't want to call businesses, or you just want to be able to text. That's a really big shift in how we all communicate, and I think that's just going to be a really big deal here. So earlier this year, we launched WhatsApp Business to let small businesses create a presence on WhatsApp and give them some tools for messaging. And already in just a few short months, more than 3 million people are already using WhatsApp Business, and it's growing really quickly. So now, the next step is going to be giving large businesses tools to be on WhatsApp too, and we're working on this now. For Messenger, we are focused on building richer ways for people to connect privately with their friends and family and businesses too. When you're messaging, you really want a simple and fast experience. So we're taking this moment to completely redesign Messenger to focus on these ideas. And here's what the new Messenger is going to look like. It's clean, it's going to be fast, and David is going to come and talk about this in a bit more detail in just a little bit. Now, I mentioned earlier that we are bringing the AR camera effects platform to Instagram. Now, we're also bringing this to the Messenger platform as well. It's going to be a really fun way for people to use augmented reality to connect with their family and friends privately and in real time. And I don't know about you guys, but my daughters, when I call them when I'm traveling, they love these effects, right? Priscilla will be there, and Max will just be like, oh, look, Mama, Dad has a bunny. Or an ogre. All right, we're seeing good momentum for Messenger Business 2, with more than 300,000 bots and businesses now using these tools, and people are sending more than 8 billion messages between businesses and people every month. All right, so that's Messenger. All right, so now let's go beyond our apps for a minute and talk about virtual reality and the future. So our goal here is to create this real feeling of presence, right? Like you're right there with someone, even if they're halfway around the world. And this idea of being physically or feeling like you're there with someone, even when you can't physically be there, is something we've talked about a lot today with video chat. But over the long term, virtual reality and eventually augmented reality are going to take this to a completely different level, where it's not just going to be about being able to see someone's face on a small screen. You're going to actually be able to feel like you're there with someone. So here's an example of how compelling I think that this is going to be. Now, if you have some photos from your childhood home, we can now use computer vision to fill in the gaps with this pointillism effect and recreate the rooms of your childhood home where you grew up. So you're going to be able to go into VR with your family and visit and feel like you were right there. It feels like you were in a dream. It is wild. So this work of mapping out immersive spaces is just another important step on the path to creating this real feeling of presence. Now, in addition to software, we're all building hardware. So we've been preparing Oculus Go for launch. And the big news I have to share today is Oculus Go is shipping today. It starts at $199. It is the first really affordable standalone virtual reality headset. It's launching with more than 1,000 apps, and it has the highest quality lenses and optics that we have ever built into a VR device. Oculus Go is going to be, it's the easiest way to get into VR. And we think that this is going to be how a lot of people experience virtual reality and virtual presence for the first time. And to make sure that all of you get to experience this too, everyone at F8 is getting a free Oculus Go to take home. We're excited about that too. All right. All right. So this is how we are thinking about our responsibility. To keep people safe and also to keep building. We're here to build things that bring people together and to put people in our relationships at the center of our experience with technology where they belong. Because for all the challenges that we face today, the vast majority of what happens on these services is people getting closer to the people they care about, even when time or distance get in the way. And we can help more people do this. Whether it's reaching out to a friend that you lost touch with, or finding a group to belong to, or just sending a video to your sister of your kids. And the best part of what you do isn't on Facebook. It's the relationships you build and what you can go do together. That is what this is all about. So if you believe, like I do, that giving people a voice is important, that building relationships is important, that creating a sense of community is important, and that doing the hard work of trying to bring the world closer together is important, then I say this: we will keep building. We need to keep this idea alive, and that is what we are all here at F8 to do together. So yes, this is an important moment. We need to do more to keep people safe, and we will. But we also need to keep building and bringing the world closer together. Thank you for coming out today. Thank you for everything you're doing to bring people together. Have a great F8.
All right, let's talk about dating. Actually, one of the great ironies for me is that when a lot of us joined the very first version of the service in 2004, back when it was just a handful of college students, we were convinced that dating would be the next feature Facebook was going to add. After all the college kids were finally in one place. So it turns out you were right, just 14 years too early. So I first wrapped my head around what Facebook was going to be in 2005 when I went into the early office to interview for a job as an engineer. This is 156 University Avenue in High Street. The founders and a handful of engineers had moved out there to try and find some more folks to join their team. And I wasn't sure I wanted to work there, but I really wanted to meet Mark. So I decided I'd go in there and interview for a job. And I remember the office when I got inside was very frenetic energy. It was sort of like a plane ascending to new altitudes with the engine and the wings shaking, and here you had this small team of engineers trying to keep everything running. And I liked that. Anyway, Mark wasn't there that day. Justin Timberlake was not there either. But instead I met Dustin, Facebook's co-founder, Dustin Moskovitz, our head of engineering. And I immediately liked him. He was humble, he was smart, and he took a moment out of his busy day, keeping this engineering team running, to take me into a corner office and begin to explain to me where they were going. And he drew for me a picture on a whiteboard of a graph. And I thought he was going to give me like the traveling salesman problem, and I was going to write code. But instead, he starts talking about this idea that the way they see Facebook is the seed of a collaboratively created directory of people. And it's authentic, it's up to date, it's interconnected, so like Wikipedia, you can explore people and things through their relationships with each other. Each person is responsible for their own representation, and we think it could grow beyond college. And I found that idea very simple and elegant, and it began to get the gears turning for me. Maybe I should check this place out. And that was really the founding idea of the company for years. Each year, the company would identify a set of barriers to take down to allow more folks to use the service. So in 2005, high school. In 2006, other English speakers. In 2007, a crowdsourced translation tool. Going up to 2017, how do we make this thing work on a Nokia C3 on a 2G network in Delhi at night? An adversarial networking condition. And each time we've launched in a new country or a new place, we've learned that Facebook wants to be something different. In Indonesia, we learned Facebook wanted to be a marketplace. In Thailand, we learned about the importance of helping small entrepreneurs scale businesses and reach new people. In Egypt, we learned about Facebook as a political tool. The other thing we've learned as the network has scaled is that people want specialization in the tools that they use for different groups. So for the closest people to us, our family, we want messaging. Your parents, your kids, your siblings, your significant other. For me, this is a message thread with lots of baby photos and the occasional spat. The same is true for your close friends, the 6 or 7 people that you rely upon on your worst day, the people you're constantly in touch with. The average person on our messaging services sends 80% of their messages to 5 people. And a lot of those messages are just to one person, their best friend or significant other. So messaging is going to do a lot for us, but the most important thing to focus on is how it keeps us connected with the people who matter to us most. So David and Mubarak are going to be up here to talk about that a bit more. Going further out, all of our friends is really what Facebook and Instagram do most well, is helping us stay connected with hundreds of people. Now, on Facebook last year, we began to hear that the influx of video and public media and content into the system was drowning out what people wanted the most, which was not to miss things from friends. And that's why we announced a big ranking change in January, which will help people make sure that they don't miss stories from friends. And from the publishers they do see, we'll prioritize publishers that are trusted, that are informative, that are local, and that are inspiring conversations between people. The emerging research on well-being and Facebook tells us that Facebook is better when it's about conversations, not just passing time, which is what we're committed to. And then at the story level, we've gone through each component to understand how we can inspire better conversation. So again, you'll see more things from friends and more things from publishers that are trusted, informative, and local. When people see articles from publishers they don't recognize, we're making it a lot easier for them to go in there and understand where the story is coming from. When was the publisher founded? Where are they based? What are some of the other pieces they've written recently? What are some pieces from other trusted sources on that same topic? And how has the article traveled through Facebook? We hope this helps people make better judgments and determinations about what they can trust. We're also looking at improving the quality of public conversations. It turns out good old-fashioned upvoting and downvoting look like they close the gap between comments that invoke a lot of emotion but may not be civil. So we're going to be rolling this out as quickly as we can to improve the quality of the conversations that are happening among lots of people on the platform. Now, thanks. So the other big trend that Mark talked about is the format of right now. It's pull, not push. It goes away. And it's the aspect ratio of the phone, so it feels like you're in the hand of the viewer. We've noticed that the growth here is just really insane. Here you see two trends. The first is the increase in sharing of any visual media. And then the second is that the stories format is on a path to surpass feeds as the primary where people share stuff with their friends sometime next year. On Facebook, we're focused on the unique things Facebook does well in this format. So groups. How about a group of parents whose kids are playing soccer together have a collaborative story where they can have their own video diary of the game? Events, making sure that friends at a concert can have a collaborative format for sharing that experience together. Video clipping is something people love to do on Facebook, so we're going to make it easy for people to grab the moment or the frames that they love the most and then add their own commentary so that it's personal. Things like profile photos, people should be able to create nice stories about them. And then birthdays. Instead of all of us writing on your wall to wish you a happy birthday, how about we pull together over the course of the day a photo and video reel, which you then receive as a package at the end saying happy birthday. Again, focusing on the unique strengths of the Facebook platform when applied to this format. The other thing we're seeing is a huge amount of stories coming from the camera roll, screenshots, especially of music. And this is a rather tedious process to create these, and then when you're seeing them, it's kind of annoying to go find the song. And that's why we're so excited today to announce a third-party stories integration, so that any app developer can immediately share to their stories on Facebook or Instagram, the platform of their choice. So it'll work like this. You're on Spotify. You're listening to your favorite song. You decide you want to tell your friends about it. You choose Instagram or Facebook, the platform of your choice. You can right there in line add some art, make it look the way you feel. And then on the consumption side, when you see it, you can drop right in there, and then there's a deep link into the song, so you can start listening right away. I can see myself doing this with an entire mix, with a run from my favorite running app, from GoPro, videos, anything that you love to do, making it easy to quickly share a moment from that experience that's relevant out to other people. So this is launching in beta starting today, and we're excited to see what you all build. OK, so that's what we're doing to help people share with friends. Groups, like Mark talked about, is the next layer out, where some really interesting stuff is happening on the platform today. So Groups has been around for a while, but its growth is outpacing the growth of Facebook overall. Today, 1.4 billion people are using Groups every month. And about 200 million or so we think are super meaningful groups. This is Lola Omalola. Is she over here? Lola! Lola is a Chicago-based journalist, originally from Nigeria, who started Females in Nigeria, a group for women to tell stories about issues related to them. People are cheering for you, Lola. And we've learned that the leaders are the reason that these meaningful large groups happen. Your story, as you told me, was very common, which was you started this group, added a few friends, woke up the next day, and it was doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling. And we know that you have a full-time job outside of this, and managing a group with 1 million people in it is a lot of work. This is a group that has meetups in cities all around the world. They're super close friends now. Their kids play together. They have merchandise. Lola is a major hero to them. And we've started asking what we can do to help folks like this succeed on our platform. Thank you, Lola. So we've started learning from the top group admins on the platform, what can we do to make this easier, and how do we build products that let the next generation of leaders start to have groups that cater to what they want. Dr. Hala Sabri is up here. She founded the Physicians Moms Group. This is a group for new mothers in the US who are also doctors. And according to her, 1 in 4 women in the US who meet that criteria are in this group. It's probably the world's best medical advice for parents, this group full of doctors. And so we've continued to learn what tools these folks need to have groups that are super healthy and do really, really well. And that's really been the roadmap for groups over the past year, is tools that focus on making the life easier of the people leading them, and also just make the group's conversation a lot more rich. Like Mark mentioned, we're also going to make it easier for folks to use groups on the platform by rolling out a Groups tab later this month. So if you use groups a lot, this will make it easy for you to check up on them. It will also make it easier for you to discover new groups, related especially to niche interests. I'm an owner of a pit bull. Anybody who owns a pit bull knows that they're incredibly sweet, even though they have a bad rap. And so I'm looking forward to using this to connect with more folks who have the same experience and share tips. We're also building features to make it easier for groups to do things together, like watch video. Watch Party is something we just announced, and we've been rolling out gradually. This is just the experience of watching the same frame of the same video at the same time with thousands of people all around the world. It takes advantage of the same technology we use to build Live, which is really low latency experience that creates that feeling of presence that Mark talked about. Today, we're showing a sneak preview of a new feature called Live Commentating, which will let the group leader or the video creator or anybody in the audience put their face into the screen and narrate whatever it is that they want to say about what's being watched. This is just about making the experience of watching the video there more social. So that's a little bit about groups. We've also started looking at, further out than that, what are the moments on the platform where people are finding a friend of a friend or stranger and having something important or meaningful happen? And what can we do to build more tools for that? Which is what gets us to dating. So this is Rahman and Priya. Like Mark said, they were one of many couples who's met him and us over the years to tell us the most important thing that ever happened to me on Facebook was meeting my partner. So this is a couple who met and then got engaged, got married, and had kids. So Mark posted a photo of them in 2016, and the comment thread on it was overwhelming. We basically had thousands of responses of people who had met on the platform, sharing their personal story and photograph. And this is what got the gears turning for us, that we should probably pay closer attention to how we could build a service that helped folks who want to do this do so in a way that was opt-in, in a way that was safe, a way that took advantage of the unique properties of the platform and didn't get in the way of everybody who wasn't interested in dating. And so that's what we've designed. So this is Jennifer. She's just moved to Chicago. She's interested in dating. She likes running and college football. So this is her Facebook profile. She would see in the upper right a place she can tap to go to Dating Home. The first thing she would do here is set up a dating profile. This is just her first name. It is not visible to her friends. It's only visible to folks using the dating service, and it doesn't show up in Newsfeed or anywhere else. Once she's done that, she can go browse events and groups. This will let her see things in the city and groups related to her interests. Once she does that, and we like this, by the way, because it mirrors the way people actually date, which is usually at events and in institutions that they're connected through. So let's say she sees an event she wants to go to. She can go and unlock the event. So unlocking the event will mean she shares her dating profile with other people who are going to the event, are using the dating service, and have also unlocked it. Then she can browse people who are there. Say she wants to talk to Jay. She'll start a conversation with a photo from his profile. This will encourage, we hope, a more meaningful interaction. Then if he wants to respond, they'll do so in a private messaging inbox connected to the profile. This is text only as a safety measure. And it's not connected to Messenger or WhatsApp because folks wanted this to be in a separate space and not commingled with the rest of their inbox. So we hope that this will help more folks meet and hopefully find partners. We're excited to share a lot more on this over the next few months. Okay, on a more serious note, we've also seen people use Facebook to come together in a moment of crisis or during a disaster. We know that 160 million people each year are affected by a natural disaster, and Facebook is a place that people go to tell their friends and family they're okay, and also ask for help and coordinate relief. So that's why we built Safety Check. Safety Check is a tool that lets people do just those things. And we've recently rolled out new functionality so that businesses and NGOs can offer services to people in need, like free rides, food, water, shelter, pet supplies, whatever it is that folks need can be matched by people who want to help. This has been activated over 1,000 times and notified more than 3 billion people that their friends and family are okay. Today we're announcing a new feature here, which is the ability for people to provide first-person accounts on the ground to folks who are in the middle of that place or who want to look in and figure out how they can help. This will help with things like traffic, road blockages, floods, fires, etc. The other area we've seen a lot of really interesting emergent behavior was in India around blood donations. Now, India is one of many countries where there are blood shortages. And people would, when a friend needed blood, ask the network of friends and family around them for help. So we thought about and we worked with blood banks, clinics locally to figure out how we could help make this more structured and more efficient. So we've built already the ability for folks to register as a blood donor. There are 8 million people registered in India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, making it the largest online blood matching service. Today, we're announcing a new zone, which is a hub for all of this, so that it's more easy for clinics, blood banks, and donors to find one another, whether it's in a time of need or whether it's during a moment where somebody wants to give blood. This is the kind of thing we're interested in rolling out more broadly as we continue to build functionality into the service. So these are just some of the ways we're looking at helping people finding these interesting moments where they meet somebody or something important happens, and we can build a tool to help make it work. And that's really what this conference is all about. Not putting technology to work in the service of people and our relationships with each other. I'm really excited you're all here today for F8. We're here to build things, so let's have an amazing conference. Thanks, everybody. You're going to hear from Jyoti, Shilpa, and Tamar to talk a little bit about Instagram. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Shilpa Sarkar.
I'm Tamara Shapiro.
And I'm Jyoti Sood. Instagram is the best place to share, connect, and explore with the people and interests that matter most to you. And we're all super excited to be here today to get to show some of the cool new products that we've been working on. Every day, hundreds of millions of people connect through stories on Instagram. But we're always looking for ways to improve the format, to make it easier to share any moment, even when nothing's going on. Like when I'm bored and I just want to share my favorite song or playlist. Thanks to the Spotify integration Chris talked about, now I can share a sticker of whatever I'm listening to directly to Instagram from my Spotify app. And in addition to being able to easily share from Spotify, as you can see here, now anyone can also share their latest GoPro footage directly to IG as well. Our team also really cares about building creative tools that help people uniquely share on Instagram. Whether it's the new focus format that lets you up your selfie game, or Boomerang, which turns the mundane into something fun. Or even AR face filters that help people feel more comfortable sharing and make their friends laugh. But we've just barely scratched the surface of what's possible with augmented reality. Last year, Facebook announced the ability for developers to create their own effects for the camera. And today, we're excited to bring that ability to Instagram as a closed beta. Here's how it'll be different on Instagram. The effects our partners design will only show up in the camera of their followers, so that the effects really feel authentic and genuine to the user. But non-followers will also have a way to find and use the effects. Let's say teen creator Liza Koshy creates a funny new filter. If I follow Liza, I'll automatically see the filter in my camera. But if I don't follow her, I can also try on the filter from any of my friends' stories who posted with it, or any of the direct messages that they sent using it. This sharing model gives third parties a new channel to interact with their followers and reach new ones. And it gives users a set of new creative tools of expression and interaction that can be tied to real-world moments on Instagram. Like being able to dunk on any of your friends during the playoffs or the finals, courtesy of the NBA. No matter what the occasion, we're really excited to see what you'll do. And one of our top AR developers is actually here today to show us what he's been working on. So let's bring him out. Jif Palm has 8 million followers on Instagram and is the most followed pet in the app. Hi, Jif Palm. Thanks for coming to F8. Can you show us what you've been up to? Wow, you've been really, really busy. Can you show us the filter that you've been designing? Oh, it's so cute. Look at that. Now, when you don't have Jif Palm in real life for your selfie, you have his filter with all his cuteness in it that he's designed for us. Thanks, Jif Palm. Nice work. We're really excited to be working with partners like Jif Palm to bring more fun and interactive tools into the camera. And we think some of the most interactive experiences can actually happen in real time. So I'll hand it over to Shilpa to talk about video chat.
Thanks, Jyoti, and thanks, Jif Palm. Real-time video is one of the best ways to share an experience with your friends. That's why a little over a year ago, we launched Instagram Live. Since then, we've seen over 100 million people use live video every day. However, we've heard from our community a desire to use this technology to talk privately with their closest friends. And that's why today I'm really excited to announce Video Chat, a new way to connect on Instagram Direct when you can't be together. This is me in high school. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I was in high school, I would instant message my friends or talk to them on the landline phone. This meant that when my best friend didn't get into her dream school, I couldn't read her facial expression to figure out what kind of support she really needed. And since my brilliant sarcasm is a little difficult to convey over text, most of my jokes fell flat when instant messaging with my crush. Video chat is incredible because it deepens friendships and it prevents things from being lost in textlation. Often, you need a real facial expression or a laugh to really convey an emotion. This is particularly exciting for Instagram because your friends are already on the platform. You don't need to download a separate app or even ask for a phone number if you want to use it. In fact, let me show you how easy it is. So here I am in Instagram. First, I'll swipe over to Direct because that's where I already have conversations with my closest friends. Now, let's say it's Saturday and I'm trying to figure out where we should go to brunch. I tap this button to start a video chat, and soon we're all able to hang out together. Now, let's pretend I'm looking for some inspiration for where we should go. I tap this button, and soon the video player is minimized. I swipe on over to Feed, and at this point, people can still see and hear me, but don't worry, they can't see my screen. Now, once I find somewhere I want to go, I hit Share, and then I send it back to the thread so my friends can give their input. So whether you're one-on-one or in a group, we think video chat will be a powerful and seamless way to connect on Instagram. We're currently testing video chat and look forward to rolling it out soon in the coming weeks. Now I'll hand it over to Tamar to talk about how we're making Explore an even better place to discover interests you love on Instagram.
Thanks, Shilpa. In addition to discovery, in addition to sharing, people come to Instagram every day to discover the world around them and connect with the people and the things that they love. Skateboarding fans love seeing the latest tricks that are trending. Nail art aficionados are looking for fresh ways to express themselves. And slime enthusiasts all agree they find slime oddly satisfying. So what do these people have in common? They've found communities on Instagram that share their curiosity, interest, or passion. But navigating the wide world of interest can be overwhelming. So we started working to help people discover and connect with the world around them. We launched the ability to follow hashtags back in December. And since then, we've seen more than 100 million people around the world follow hashtags. And one thing we've learned is just how many different hashtags and interests are out there. I happen to follow hashtag slime, and I make it every weekend with my kids. So how did I become slime obsessed? Well, I found it on the Explore page. Explore is core to discovery on Instagram. Millions of people use Explore to get inspired and find awesome content. And today, we're excited to give you a sneak peek of the new Explore. Now Explore is organized into topic channels based on your personal interests and tastes. You can easily browse across different topics and dive deeper when you want to see more. You have more control over the content you're seeing, so it's easier to find exactly what you're looking for. Explore has always been powered by artificial intelligence. In order to deliver a cutting-edge experience, we're augmenting our AI with content classification and curation signals from our community. Our goal is to provide an even more personalized and easy-to-use experience that is tailored just for you. But as we work to make it easier to share, connect, and explore across Instagram, it's equally important that it remains a safe and supportive space. That's why last year we launched a comment filter that automatically hides offensive comments. But that was just step one. Today, we're taking our comment filtering technology even further by launching a bullying filter that hides language intended to harass or upset people. This type of language is complicated to identify, so we've advanced our machine learning systems to make it possible. So much of the Instagram experience is about how your connections and community can support you. We're committed to getting this right, and we're excited for what's to come. I'll now hand it off to Mubarak Imam to talk about WhatsApp.
morning. 5 years ago, my husband asked me if I could work anywhere for free, where would I work? My answer was simple: WhatsApp. I'd been using it since March 2009, just 2 weeks after the app launched. I was a huge fan and still am. And that is because WhatsApp helps us deepen our personal relationships with friends and family, no matter the distance. It fulfills a fundamental human need to communicate. It is the only way that my family, which is split up across 4 continents, 6 different countries, and 8 cities, stays up to date on each other's lives. This is the closest thing that we have to sitting around my grandmother's dining table every night in Lahore, Pakistan. For 9 years, we've helped families, friends, and loved ones communicate by focusing on 3 core principles: simplicity, reliability, and privacy. So let's talk about simplicity. We prioritize quality over an abundance of new features. And this means that we say no to things that add unnecessary complexity to the app. Second, reliability. WhatsApp has a data-light design that works well on the lowest-end smartphones, no matter where you are in the world. This matters on ordinary days, when you're exchanging messages with your loved ones. But it really matters on exceptional days too, such as after last year's earthquake in Mexico City, when WhatsApp was one of the only messaging services that worked reliably in the first few crucial hours to help find people that were still trapped. Lastly, privacy and security are really in our DNA at WhatsApp. We collect very little information about our users. And since some of your most personal moments are shared on WhatsApp, a few years ago, we built end-to-end encryption by default into our app. It means that when you exchange messages with your loved ones or call your friends, nobody, not even WhatsApp, can read your messages or listen to your calls. With 65 billion messages that are sent every single day on WhatsApp, as Mark mentioned, WhatsApp is the world's largest implementation of end-to-end encryption. We also really believe that your messages should be in your hands. That's why WhatsApp does not store your messages on our servers once we deliver them. Our features are also designed with privacy and security in mind. So take, for example, Live Location, which we launched last year. It lets you share your location with whoever you choose privately. Again, this is end-to-end encrypted, which means nobody, not even WhatsApp, knows your location. Imagine how this matters in parts of the world where a woman who might be stuck in the traffic in Karachi after the monsoons, or a university student in Caracas can let their parents know that they've arrived home safely. What is really exciting is that every single day, we're working hard on introducing new ways for people to stay connected around the globe. Last year, we launched WhatsApp Status. This is our Stories feature, so you can share the fleeting memories that you have throughout your day, whether it's a photo, a GIF, a message, just with any or all of your contacts. And as Mark mentioned, even though it is pretty new, WhatsApp Status is by far the biggest Stories product in the world, with over 450 million daily users. Thank you. Voice and video calling have also become immensely popular on WhatsApp, and our engineers work really hard to make sure that you have clear video and voice quality everywhere around the world. And today, people make over 2 billion minutes of voice and video calls every day on WhatsApp. And now, we're excited to share that group calling is also coming to WhatsApp in the coming months ahead, where you can get together with friends and family regardless of where you are in the world. And in the next few, thank you. And in the next few months, we're also bringing stickers to WhatsApp, so people can express themselves with even more nuance. And what's exciting about this is that this includes support for third-party sticker packs created by developers like you, so you can help create localized stickers for people around the world to use. Thank you. Groups are also really an essential part of WhatsApp. And we've recently added new features that give users even more control. Groups are intended for intimate conversations with family, friends, personal communities, and organizations. And so today, I'd like to share 2 stories with you that illustrate that. For example, in India, groups are being used to help and support farmers. Farmers sometimes endure really brutal working conditions, and many are in debt because of unpredictable climates. Unfortunately, this drives many farmers to contemplate and potentially attempt suicide. One farmer named Gajnan Patod in Maharashtra had attempted suicide because he saw no way to get out of debt. His story was shared in a WhatsApp group created by a nonprofit called Yuvrashtra that supports distressed farmers and their communities. The group brought together government officials, agriculture experts, and legal advisors, along with farmers for the first time, who helped him pay off his debt, repair his irrigation system, and build a well, his lifelong dream. And today, Yuvrashtra has more than 22 such WhatsApp groups with over 2,000 farmers. Universities are also using WhatsApp as a tool for students to communicate from enrollment all the way to graduation. At the Universidade de São Paulo, Professor Paulo Nassar uses a support system on WhatsApp for his students by encouraging them to share information, discuss class assignments, and continue conversations, all in a safe and private environment on WhatsApp. It's not only the people that use our products, but millions of businesses are also using WhatsApp to connect with customers, from clothing companies in Europe to bakeries in Brazil. And now we're bringing 2 products to make these connections even more seamless for you. This year, we launched WhatsApp Business. It's a new Android app for small businesses, which has more than 3 million people using it. And we're also testing another large solution for big businesses. The goal is for businesses to have a presence on WhatsApp for the first time, as well as additional features that make it possible to manage a really large volume of messages. This includes away messages, quick replies, labels, and many other features to come. So I want to share 2 stories with you about how businesses are using this. Take, for example, in Madrid, Spain, where Marta Gonzalez turned her passion for ceramics into a business by teaching classes in her studio and selling her own designs. For her business called Marta Ceramica, WhatsApp has become the tool that she relies on every single day to run her business and coordinate her classes, so that she has more time to be creative as an artist and focus on her students. Her favorite feature is voice messages, because she can send personalized greetings and communicate with people even when her hands are messy and dirty in the studio. Another business called SalesStock in Indonesia is piloting our WhatsApp product for larger companies. They're an online clothing company that uses WhatsApp to provide delivery rates and personalized recommendations for customers in the app. And nonprofits are benefiting from this too. I want to share the story of Prykel Foundation, a South African nonprofit that is piloting a program called Mom Connect. It uses WhatsApp to provide new mothers with critical pre- and postnatal care. And what is truly remarkable is that communication between mothers and clinics has gone up by over 3 times since they switched to WhatsApp. This is really the power of WhatsApp. The stories of people, organizations, and businesses around the world that use WhatsApp in ways in which we never imagined really inspire our work every single day at WhatsApp. And from all of us that work on WhatsApp, it is an honor and deep privilege to serve you. And next, here to share with you exciting developments for Messenger, please welcome David Marcus.
Good morning. I hope you're having a great F8 so far. Yeah? All right, awesome. We now have over 200,000 developers building for the Messenger platform. So I want to start by thanking all of you for your understanding as we had to pause approving new experiences on the platform in the last few weeks. 7 years ago, I was sitting in this audience with my startup building for the Facebook platform. So I know how painful and stressful those weeks can feel, and I just wanted you to know that we're super, super thankful and grateful for your understanding as we went through this process. The good news, as Mark shared with you earlier, is that we're now fully open for business again. And Ime will share more details about that in his section right after me. In the last year, we've been really, really busy making Messenger better for all of you. Starting with groups, we've added AR capabilities for group video chat. We've added admin support, join by link, mentions, and reactions to the main group products. Games have also become a lot bigger on the platform, with now over 500 titles built by 200 game developers who are now monetizing those games really well. And speaking of monetization and payments, we've made a lot of progress on payments too, by launching P2P payments, the same experience that you have here in the US, in France, and in the UK. Messenger Lite is now also available to more people in more countries, and now supports video calling, which was the #1 requested feature from people using the product. And talking about the #1 requested feature, this has been one of mine for a very, very long time. It seems like a small thing, but it's a really big deal. The ability for you to now send 4K photos, 360-degree photos, and HD videos super fast to all of your friends. This really makes Messenger one of the best ways to share rich media with anyone you want. Now, Messenger Kids has also found more and more product market fit with families all over the country. I use it with my youngest daughter when I'm traveling, and she loves all of the face filters and effects, and I know that I can be in control of who she can communicate with at all times, which is great. On the platform side of things, we've been continuing to invest a ton in the last year, as you all know. But one of the capabilities that I really, really think is going to make a big difference is our customer chat plugin. Our customer chat plugin enables you to embed Messenger on your own website, and for the very first time, continue chatting with your customers long after they've left your website, which is great for both customer service, but also for marketing, because you can continue retargeting customers after they've asked you for a question on a product. Last year, when I was here, 1 year after opening the platform, I shared with you that we had over 100,000 live experiences on the platform. And this year, I'm happy to update that number to over 300,000. But more importantly, what we've seen is that the engagement of people and businesses on Messenger is growing at a really rapid and accelerating rate. Last year, we had 2 billion messages exchanged between people and businesses every month. And this number in 1 year has quadrupled to over 8 billion messages every month. This shows that the platform is finding product market fit, has a ton of momentum, and is driving success for businesses over the world. But we haven't done this by ourselves. We partnered with awesome developers, solution providers, advertisers, and marketers all over the world. And it's been amazing to watch all of you find product market fit, get success, grow your businesses this year. So let's hear from a few of you now.
In a startup, you have to do everything yourself. So it was time to build it. My name is Dmitry, and my product is Edwin.
My name is Bryn Blanks, and I work at Direct Relief.
My name is Jimmy, and my company is Manal.
My name is Afsha Abbas, and my company is called Fuchsia Shoes.
We're still a small business, and to be able to reach as many people as possible, we were going to need a way to scale those interactions. So it was really about what tools can we use, and Messenger was an obvious choice.
We started building Edwin, and Messenger was evolving with us.
During Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, we got a number of messages from individuals who either were affected by the storm or they were there to help with their response efforts.
The more that we can get the bot to take care of the functional stuff, like shipping notifications, the more of those great conversations we can have.
Instead of the customers waiting for a day or two, our bot will address those questions and help them pick a shoe immediately.
For the first time ever, Messenger gives Direct Relief the potential to expand our work to a place that it's never been before.
The open rates of emails are around 16%, whereas if we send a more personalized message through Messenger bots, the open rates that we are seeing is around 90%.
One of the things we noticed is that people who come through Messenger spend 20% more than other people.
Messenger cut a lot of costs and time and money for us. And we invested all that spare time into the product. And I think that's why we are so successful at this point.
These are truly awesome success stories. But it's not only about small businesses and startups. It's also your favorite brands from all over the world that have invested in Messenger and have found great results and success. From Qantas to TD Ameritrade that have redefined customer service on Messenger, to Comcast and T-Mobile who are really engaging their customers in a brand new way. So I want to turn the page now. Enough about the past, let's look to the future. Last year, I was here, and for the very first time, we talked about M-Suggestions. And since then, we've added a lot of capabilities for M-Suggestions. It learned new languages, it can suggest more things. But this year, we're really excited to announce M-Translations. For the very first time, you're going to have the ability to talk to almost anyone you want in the world at an unprecedented scale, even if you don't speak the same language. And this will power connections that weren't possible before in all kinds of different circumstances and definitely make the world a lot smaller. Yeah. As far as the platform is concerned, we're continuing to invest. And as Mark highlighted before, we're bringing AR to the Messenger platform. And what this means is that you'll be able to build native AR experiences combined with your bot, creating the very first conversational AR experiences. And you can see some of the examples around me right now. This is going to be really powerful because you'll still have the conversation behind those effects. And we've been very lucky to work with amazing brands like Nike, Asus, Kia, and Sephora to build those amazing experiences on our platform. I now want to zoom in on the Nike experience because my son is a total sneakerhead, and he converted me into one. So having the ability to announce the first ever shoe drop on Messenger on stage in front of you is awesome in more ways than you know. So let's take a look. First, you go to the Nike sneakers experience, and provided you have the right secret emoji code, you can unlock a bubble that then loads up the AR effects that Nike has built right into our native camera. The awesome part with this is that now you're in the room you're sitting in, and you have this awesome podium that shows up, and a brand new pair of Kyries just drops in front of you, literally. And you can actually walk to the shoe, get up close and personal with it, take photos and videos, and share them with your friends, ask them for their opinions. And when you're done with it and you close the camera, you're back into the experience where you can buy the shoe right then and there. The awesome part with this is now because you're in a thread in Messenger, if you're a real sneakerhead, you can ask for all the notifications for the next shoe drops, and those are really important notifications if you like the sneakers. I really can't wait to see what you guys are going to build with this, because I think that creative companies and marketing agencies will have a blast creating those new experiences on our platform. Now, I really want to thank all of you on behalf of the whole Messenger team, because obviously, we wouldn't have gotten here without all of you. In 2 short years, this platform went from 0 to a thriving ecosystem of partners fueling success stories from all over the world. But it still feels like it's early, and we have so much more work to do together to tap into the full potential of the platform we've built together. So let me commit once more to you that we're fully invested in the Messenger platform, that we will continue listening to your feedback, we will continue making it better so that you can be more successful on our platform. We have 6 sessions for you this year, more than ever, so please make sure to check them out. We also have an awesome booth where you'll be able to try these experiences for the first time hands-on, and we'll have surprises for you there. But before I leave this stage, I want to show you what the future of Messenger will look like. Mark showed you a little bit of it. I'll show you a little bit more. So this is something we've been hard at work on from the very beginning of this year, and definitely something we're very excited to announce, but more excited to actually deliver to you very, very soon. Let's take a look. What do you guys think? All right, that's it for me today. Thank you, and now I'll pass it on to Ime. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? We still got the energy going? All right, all right, all right. My name is Ime Archibong, and for the last 8 years, I've been part of the partnerships organization here at Facebook. And across many of those years, I've got the opportunity to work, just like Mark, many of you out here, and probably have met more developers than I could even count. But the thing that's actually fairly special and unique about it is that I remember a lot of you, and I remember many of your guys' stories. That's mainly because they've been unique, and our journey together has been unique in itself. The very first developer that I had the opportunity to work with when I started at this company was a relative unknown. It's a 30-person European startup with a few thousand users. Now, over our journey and over working with them, there were plenty of ups, there were plenty of downs, but through it all, we remained committed to a couple of different things. One, this idea and this notion that building together was actually the most powerful thing that we could do. And 2 was this vision that there's a more personalized and social future that we wanted to work towards together. Now, we're on similar journeys with many of you, which is a beautiful thing right now. And I just wanted to thank you. I don't think you've heard thank you enough. We'll say it again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because recent events and the ever more urgent need to protect people's data has required us all to evolve and to change our products, which we know can be disruptive. And as we reopen the app review process, we've moved more and more of our APIs behind And that is taking a higher level of expectations when we look at your applications that you submit to the Facebook platform.
That was a bit of a glitchy end to the day one keynote from Mark Zuckerberg and the Facebook team. Welcome back. For those of you still with us, I'm Bridget Carey, and with me in our New York studios is Ayaz Akhtar and Ben Fox-Rubin, and we're here to digest what all we heard today.
Well, I'm going to ask the F8 bot if they can fix the feed on my computer right now, because
it was just, it looks like it was a global problem, but it was just kind of like stuttering. And so now we're back, because although it might still be concluding on the side of the folks in San Jose, we're just going to talk about all the highlights here.
Well, the bot says, I'm sorry to say I don't have that kind of data, so it can't help us right now.
It's the only data Facebook doesn't have.
You know, for a company that is talking about all this live chat, it was a rough start.
Mm-hmm.
The F8 website was down, and we got the feed because we were tapped into it. But then, yeah, now it's a choppy end. What were some of the big highlights, though, from what we did see?
Dating. That was probably like the biggest takeaway, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty interesting. Like, it seems like this was the in case of emergency situation when it came to dating, because they have all this privacy issues. They have all this terrible information. They're like, what could we do that people will talk about? We'll bring out a puppy, and we'll talk about dating. And that seems to have worked.
It's the happy, fuzzy feelings, romantic part of Facebook.
They just didn't have, fireworks or cupcakes or any of that.
Oh,
other
those are
stuff.
stickers.
Oh,
Oh yeah. They'll put that in the Instagram and WhatsApp.
Yeah, but ultimately, I feel like why didn't they do this sooner? It seems to make a lot of sense to me. If the whole idea, as Mark Zuckerberg said, so I'm stealing this line from him, the idea is to connect people and to create meaningful relationships, wouldn't making Facebook into a dating site be so much of that?
Why don't we break down what that dating site is? Because it is not exactly like a Tinder for hookups. He specifically said this is for meaningful relationships, but also this isn't something that is going to have an algorithm to match you with strangers that are nearby. You have to do a little work here. One, it has to be switched on. It's not going to show up in your news feed. This isn't something your friends can see. It's going to be focused on events and groups. So if you have in your profile that you're interested in dating and you're looking at events nearby, you can turn on the feature to unlock. Well, let's say there is a music event happening at the park on Saturday. I can go to that specific event and say, hey, everyone else in this event who's also interested in dating, we can all see each other's profiles and maybe then start a conversation. But what I found also interesting is on chat, people are talking about how you cannot access these dating features if your status says you are married or dating.
Or in a relationship, right.
Right, or in a relationship. So they're not going to have an Ashley Madison kind of situation, but why even go down that route? I mean, this is I guess they want to keep it safe and not have controversy, but then you are making rules and telling people what they can and can't do.
Which is controversial for another reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's pretty tough. It's because if they decided to go down the route of we're going to turn a blind eye to your own relationship status that you've told us and is publicly available, that could...
Now I'm going to blame Facebook for my relationship going south if the significant other is like now using Facebook to date behind your back, right?
Yeah, but so that could blow up for Facebook, I think, pretty quickly had they not gone down that route. So obviously they're probably going to get knocked to a certain extent for moralizing a little bit, but it's probably going to be less controversial for them to pick this route than the other one.
What's your dating feel here?
I think it seems like it is strange that it took so long for Facebook to be in this world. When it comes to having your status actually matter, yeah, I guess they have to figure something out. They have had problems with this in the past when they had ideas for gender and how they're going to, I guess, classify you and what you could classify yourself as and your real name and all that other stuff. It's another one of those growing pains kind of situations. So they probably get a little bit of flack. And if you want to switch it to it's complicated, I guess you could always do that, but that could be like a tone-deaf kind of response. So we'll see what Facebook says about that.
Especially if you're married.
Well, you know, when I first heard him say they're getting into dating, I was like, oh my gosh, you're giving me more data. I've seen also a lot of that feedback on Twitter where people are feeling like, you mean in a time where they're criticized for taking data, they want more dating data? But actually, when I heard the presentation, I was okay with it. The tone seemed appropriate. It was about if you're going to an event or if you're part of an interest group, then you can have a conversation like normal people do to talk about something. The dating industry and all the dating apps, the matches and the fishes and all of those things, they're a massive company. They're not trying to necessarily take that over. It's just a different twist on it.
Speaking of which, the owner of Tinder, IAC, their stock is down 12% today. They are definitely feeling the pain from the fact that Facebook is getting into the dating scene because I mean, did they even mention how much this is going to cost? This is an opt-in service, but if it's free, you're already on Facebook. If I'm the folks that own Match.com, Tinder, Plenty of Fish, whatever, I'm definitely nervous now that this is a huge platform. There are already people on it, and now they could potentially use it for dating and not pay my site to use it for dating instead.
And if I'm a developer or someone who's making a group or making an event, this is great because now you get people who are really engaged and going and not just saying, yeah, I'm interested in going and forgetting about it, because now they have reason to go and reason to meet people.
Yeah, one of the other things they mentioned in the keynote is that you will not get paired with friends. So you could imagine that some people are going to be like, I'm unfriending this person, I'm trying to get out of the friend zone. That's it.
Yes!
Getting out. And then you're going to have this signal
literally
happening.
out of the friend zone.
Yeah, so you're going to have this signal and be like, why did this person unfriend me? You're like, oh no.
Before you unfriend them, find out what all their likes are, what their favorite book is, put all of that in your profile. It's not going to be creepy at all. There's nothing weird about doing that.
Not at all, but that's going to happen.
I mean, Facebook before tried to match you with careers. Now they're just trying to match you in a love connection, I guess, right?
All your relationships, your bosses, your significant others. Next, your kids. That's what they're going to have. Like, oh, this could be your kid. There you go.
Yeah. Well, broadening that out a bit, I think that they did do a good job. We started this conversation talking about all the controversies, and they did do a good job of really hammering the point that we want to be the place for meaningful relationships, meaningful communication, and they threaded the needle, I thought, in a pretty good way as far as talking about during disasters or floods that you could use safety checks. So that is a difficult time in people's lives, but Facebook also wants to be there for that too.
What about the tone? Before this kicked off, we were going about how this is going to be damage control, and I feel like that first 15 minutes where Zuckerberg kind of went through everything, it was very like, I am confident, this is great, let's keep the mood, yeehaw, rally, hurrah. I don't know, what was your take?
Rally sounds about right.
Yeah.
He wants these developers to keep making apps and all kinds of things for Facebook, and without them, they've got very little to go on. If you want to get new creative works done, you need to get all these people excited for you. So yeah, it did sound like a rallying cry in the first 15 minutes of taking on, literally saying fighting fake news and all of these huge issues that Facebook's been facing. So that was like the original tone. Then that totally shifts. What did you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it was very much a call to arms, and Zuckerberg did a good job of addressing a lot of that stuff head on. At the same time, taking 15 minutes out of the presentation, in the very early part of the presentation, to really hit on those negative points really conveys how much Facebook has to come back from some of this stuff.
And I was wrong. He did have more humor this time, just like you said, because this is his playground. I mean, some of the jokes that we saw were, they made him a little more relatable because he was a little more comfortable or more rehearsed, one or the other. But what was the joke about, like, hey, if you want to have a group chat, what was it? No, it was watch party.
Watch party, yeah.
You want to have a watch party with your friends when someone's testifying on the Hill,
Right.
and then he kind
got a
of
big
poked
laugh
at his
out of
own
that one.
testimony there.
Yeah, and he also did like a filter of him like looking like a bunny for his kids too.
Aww,
so it's very
Zuckerberg the bunny.
Very, very humanizing, very relatable, that kind of thing. So to me, it seemed like it was they did what they needed to do. It was a good presentation in that regard. I don't think all their problems go away. Obviously, I think that's important to remember that. But also, Oculus Go is another one that's important to mention as far as some of the bigger plot points from the presentation.
Oh, right. Now it's available now, right? Like you could just order it. I believe was the news that it's launching now. Of course, everyone in the audience got one, to kind of make everyone excited about using it. But hey, this is a hands-free VR device. No need for wires to your PC. No need for putting your phone inside. So now we have hands-free, VR, and Facebook's getting into dating. I just wonder where that's going next.
You do have a little controller, so you can use that.
Yeah, okay.
That's for movement, but otherwise it's not tethered to anything.
Right.
So basically you're not wired anymore. Just quickly saying, they're like, oh, we want to talk about hardware. He spends about 2 minutes on it. It's $199, starts at $199, available today, and then we just moved right on from that.
It wasn't a surprise because it was announced already. It's just the availability was the news, I guess. So maybe there'll be more demos and more we can learn about that as the developer conference goes on. A lot of talk on both Instagram and WhatsApp, and while it was going on, we were discussing here at the table. Things were sounding pretty similar.
Yeah, the only way that you could actually figure out the difference between what the presentation was by their color coding in the background, that, oh, it's green background, so this is a WhatsApp feature, or it's a pink background with a dog in the front, so it's a Instagram
Yeah, video
feature.
chat's coming to, it's a WhatsApp, it's Messenger, it's Instagram. All three also have stories. You have Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, stickers. Stickers are in both things. So yeah, it felt like they were kind of like giving you the option to have all these features in all of their products, so I guess you don't have to choose which one you want to use. You'll have the same experience, more or less.
Maybe they're just hedging their bets. So if something goes wrong with Instagram, they can distance themselves from it. Something goes wrong with Messenger, they can distance them from that. And then there's WhatsApp. So any of them, they're like, look, we're not them, we're these guys. And then again, Instagram has the little dog, which is super important. They bring out a little dog on the stage. Do you guys know what it was called at?
Oh, the Pomeranian? Well, really quick, I'm going to interrupt you. The feed came back, so we're going to throw right back to that. I think we're talking about Oculus now.
Screen in reality. And it works just like the best smart TVs out there. Use the controller to change channels, navigate around, and choose between live and on-demand content. And starting this summer, you'll be able to invite friends, cousins, and grandparents to have a watch party in VR wherever they are in the world. Oculus TV launches this month, and we're adding tons of great content partners over the next few months, including ESPN, Netflix, Hulu, and Showtime. Thank you. Another awesome way to spend quality time with friends in VR is Oculus Rooms. And today we're launching a totally new version of Oculus Rooms that gives you even more fun things to do with your friends in VR. We've built a new environment that is even more inviting with things we know people love to do together. You can watch 3D movies or listen to music while hanging out and playing a board game together. And speaking of board games, we're excited to announce a new partnership with Hasbro to bring some of the world's most popular board games to Oculus Rooms. We're starting with Boggle, which goes live this month, and soon also Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit experiences. These are super fun games that people love and that you can now play with your friends in VR and feel like you're there together. Thank you. All right. Next is Oculus Venues, which is going to be your ticket to live social events in VR, like concerts, sports, comedy nights, and movie screenings. Check this out. You get to sit in this awesome VR amphitheater with thousands of people and watch premium events together, like soccer, live in 180 degrees. You can see and hear the crowd and really feel the energy in the room. It is great. And the summer session in Oculus Venues kicks off with our first event, a live concert from Vance Joy on May 30th. We have a great lineup of live event partners coming to Oculus Venues, live concerts from AEG, live games from the MLB and the NBA, movie screenings from Lionsgate, plus comedy nights and tons of entertainment from Next VR. And that's Oculus Go. For $199, you get access to over 1,000 apps and games, tons of experiences to broaden your horizons, and some of the most exciting social entertainment today. We're also launching a version of Oculus Go with double the storage memory, 64 gigabytes for $249. You can order Oculus Go right now at oculus.com in 23 countries around the world, and in North America, also on Amazon, Best Buy, and Newegg, with more retailers worldwide coming this summer, and a version for the China market with our partner, Xiaomi. Now, thank you. It is my honor to introduce a phenomenal Facebook colleague who's going to talk about the amazing work we're doing to connect people in and beyond VR. Please welcome Rachel Franklin.
Hugo. You just saw how we're bringing VR to everyone with the most accessible headset yet. We're also making immersive technology social from the start, because virtual reality and augmented reality can help connect us in meaningful ways, even when we're not in a headset. That's where the Facebook platform comes in. Facebook is where people come together and share, and where we create communities around the world. With new formats that spring from new technologies, we'll be able to share the moments of our lives in even richer ways. Our connections to people will deepen. We're working with developers like you to create a new generation of media that can express the power of moments, big or small, and make sharing those moments seamless within and beyond VR for everyone. I want to talk about 3 ways we're doing this: by creating, by capturing, and by making it possible to remember the moments that matter most to us in new ways. So first, let's talk about creating moments. We're doing this with interactive 3D posts on Facebook. So my friend Jen just moved into her new house, and as a housewarming present, I bought her this fancy new mixer. The company that makes it used our 3D sharing API, so before it even arrives, I can send her a 3D preview of the gift on Facebook. It shows up in her newsfeed for her friends to admire from every angle. But it's more than just a post. With one tap, you can bring a 3D object into Facebook Camera using our AR technology. This means you can grab a 3D object right out of newsfeed and bring it straight into your world. And it's launching next month. So this means Jen can see how the mixer's going to look in her new kitchen, and I can see if I want one for myself. Moving objects into VR takes this experience to an even more immersive and meaningful level. So because Jen lives 2 states away, my post actually created a moment for us together. It reminded us how much we miss each other. So we decided to get together in VR, in Facebook Spaces, with a simple 360 photo of her kitchen and that 3D mixer object. The virtual Jen can give me a tour. So we're already seeing the start of an entirely new way to share with 3D media. But what if you don't have 3D modeling software, and you want immersive experiences based on your own special moments? Well, you only have to wait a few months. This summer, we're rolling out 3D photos. You simply take a picture with your smartphone and upload it to Facebook as a 3D photo. So here are Jen's kids baking and making slime, because slime's a real trend right now. You can see how they pop off the screen. It's like a memory is coming alive. I almost feel like I'm in that kitchen with them because Jen's really captured the moment. So you've seen how you can create immersive experiences, and you can capture them, but we can go a step further to help you remember them. Looking back at important times in our lives is already a favorite thing to do on Facebook. But what about going back and feeling those feelings again? Earlier, Mark showed you a sneak peek at a demo that our team is working on, but I want to give you a closer look. We all have these albums of our memories on Facebook. Imagine taking these 2D photos and videos, and with the magic of AI, reconstructing a place and a moment that's important to you. So what you're seeing is a 3D environment built with point cloud reconstruction from flat videos. You pop on a VR headset, and you're there again, walking around, looking around corners, seeing the places where your memories happened. Maybe it's in your childhood home. It's like a Facebook album that has come to life. And most magical of all, you'll be able to go into these moments together with the people you care about. This is the kind of entirely new experience we can have in the future as immersive formats evolve. This is how we can get back to moments that matter to us and the people we care about. This is why we build. We believe our vision today will be the foundation for the tools that you build with tomorrow. And I'm glad we're on this journey together, because together we'll put people at the center of how we design technology to create the experiences that people will naturally want to share. That's what matters to us at Facebook, making technology social from the start. So let's do this. Let's keep building together. There's never been a more important time for it.
So that is the end of F8 Day 1's keynote. I'm Bridget Carey here with Ayaz and Ben in our CNET New York studios, here to digest everything that just went down. That memories thing, man, with the VR, like reconstructing the past, it was very Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's the story of us. So essentially, this new thing that's coming, taking these 3D, well, creating a 3D world where you can walk around in a room and see where you took a picture with your kid on the couch, where you saw your prom photo from other days, I guess. It seems like a really bizarre concept, terrifying, but interesting. I'm not sure where to be on this yet, because I just saw it a couple of times, and like that doesn't seem like a great idea any which way. But I'm intrigued.
I mean, it's your own memories.
It's
so
a way
why
to get them to encourage you to upload your really old stuff, maybe. But I mean, okay, I'm thinking back. What do I have on Facebook that is really detailed? I guess my college apartment life and that stuff they could maybe reconstruct. I didn't upload stuff from when I was 5, like those old birthday photos. That sounds warm and fuzzy, right? You know, but then you think about it, what do we have on there? And then to see it like that with all the data dots, it was just...
You know, for me, I'm thinking more like vacations. So let's say I went to a theme park and took a bunch of pictures of different rides, and I can put the VR headset back on and walk around and see, oh, that's where we got ran over by that fake car. This is where we played this Men in Black game or whatever.
Yeah, but are you really taking a shot of every angle? No, right?
No, but that's the thing. They're supposed to be able to capture 3D, the new ways, right? New 3D photos. You can be able to kind of look into it.
And what about your friends who also took a photo at that event? Can it be smart enough to like sync up the data with more than one person who was tagged in this?
It's kind of like a photo synthing kind of thing. I'd imagine that'd be the future, but it also sounds, that's why I'm like, it's either great or terrifying or both.
I think the theme park would be a lot harder to do. That's probably why they're showing in the demonstrations.
But the cabin getaway maybe, where like if a small
if it's a smaller
area.
space, then it's probably a lot easier for them to do that. I thought it was kind of cool, but also weird and creepy that they did those dots where it kind of felt like your fuzzy memories.
It showed like here's your data, and we scattered it about almost.
Right.
I don't know, like when, in a time where we're thinking about all the data they have on us, and then they actually like pixelated that data in a visual representation. It was very interesting.
If I can bring up that image right now,
yeah.
I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. It's up on my laptop right now.
It's like a Swiss cheese type
or
of...
like it's an impressionist painting style. You got all these dots, and you can go into these areas where you can see where this little girl was playing piano, and hopefully it's a video or something, maybe the audio.
I capture a heck of a lot of my kid, but I don't upload everything to Facebook, nor would I want to. But what will this do to the memories of the future generations that are like maybe reconstructing it in this way, where they don't, like when you're under 5, let's say, you don't really remember everything, but you watch these videos over and over again, and it starts to create this false memory, I guess, that you think you remember, but really it was Facebook encouraging you to remember it in a certain way.
It's like a perfect memory. That's the fear. Do you want a perfect memory? Do you want to be able to see this and you know, playing piano or some other things going on? Like, oh yeah, I remember that birthday. That's when the cake set everything on fire. That was a bad day.
From Facebook's perspective, this was probably a smart way for them to think about how do we get people to use VR more often? How do we get people to buy the Oculus Go? Because
I was interested in that. Yeah, go on.
Because this would be more interactive and more interesting in a VR headset as opposed to like a 2D image on your laptop, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Can we go into the VR? Because going into this, I was like, okay, another VR headset, how is my life better?
Yeah.
But then we saw a lot about what they're doing in the Oculus side to promote live events, live entertainment, giving you more of that reason to invest in that $200 headset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what somebody said on Twitter, but the hashtag CNET Live. Andrew asked, are we excited about the possibility of live concerts in virtual reality? I think they had a band, Vance something, because Vance Joy, I'm too old to know who that is. And you can show up to these virtual concerts, you can show up to a virtual stadium. And I was joking around in between and saying, like, I don't want to be around in a virtual stadium with other people and have an obstructed view. Do you have to pay to get a better seat in a VR stadium just to watch?
There is some of this going on already. I mean, like Samsung Gear VR has been around for a couple of years. I know the NBA does a lot in VR with live games already. So to a certain extent, this is Facebook catching up with some of this stuff, I would think.
And then the games, right? The partnership with Hasbro. So we have games like Boggle now in VR.
I'm very excited about Boggle in VR.
And,
I'll just throw it out there.
Well, I mean, I was making jokes before about how, oh, Facebook's into dating. Now Facebook has VR. When is dating going to come to VR? And then suddenly here we are, You know, you saw these avatars floating around, playing board games and watching movies together and watching concerts together. And the other games, what was it, Trivia Pursuit and Monopoly, you know, but it's something.
They got the relationship tester with Uno when they have that, and you get a +4 card and just flip off the headset.
I think Monopoly is the real relationship tester if you can go on for a long game of Monopoly and not cheat.
When Zuckerberg was talking about the Oculus Go starting at $199, I was confused about that because everything I've heard is just one model. But then Hugo Barra came up and explained there's a higher capacity model, 64 gigabyte, coming at $249 in the future. Actually, no, I think that's coming out now.
We're actually looking at a video of Scott Stein. He was testing it out a little bit along with our colleagues.
Very curious how large the content in the games will be for this. Like how much of is 32 gigabytes not enough for this kind of application? Is 64 better? I'm just curious how that's going to work out.
Depends how much memories you're uploading into the Facebook machine. Please help me remember my life. Facebook VR Oculus.
Yeah, unlike with Facebook Spaces that they introduced last year, and they were like, just hang out in virtual reality. It'll be fun. Lexi got to try it out, and she thought it was cool. I have not tried it out, so maybe it is exciting if you actually get to be in there. But I do like that they not only presented this product, but they said, here are the things that you can actually do with it.
And the developers have a lot more opportunities to make things for this platform. You know, one thing that's been on my mind is with Facebook taking away the data that developers have access to better target us, to hyper-target us, to know exactly that, oh, you are going to be a mom-to-be, and let me give you a targeted ad because of all the activity we've gathered on you, whatever it may be, maybe, whatever activities you do. They have less of that now. How is Facebook going to make money? Oh, they're going to have more types of interactions on VR, more types of branded games. That mixer we saw in the kitchen. You, as a company, can make a 3D model of a product that someone can buy and you can gift it, and then that gift can go into the AR camera, which can then create a chat with someone in Facebook Spaces. There's a lot of layers there, and I'm running out of breath. But all these are more opportunities for Facebook to make money from branded content. Right. If they're losing money in advertising.
And some of that is just different data or new data. So maybe they're restricting some of the data that people have said, look, we want a little bit of privacy, but it's not like Facebook is going to go and introduce VR and say, we're going to make this completely encrypted. They're going to collect data related to that too, and they're going to find ways to make money off of it, for sure.
Yeah, and even Messenger, before the VR talk, there was talk about how in Messenger we saw something with Nike and shoes, more branded opportunities for companies to come in and do special things just to connect with you, the customer. Maybe it's not shared and so, privacy creepy, but it is more opportunities to connect with specific people with, opportunities to pay more to Facebook for that opportunity.
Yeah, I've got that Nike thing loading up on my screen now, the idea that you could see a shoe just like floating in the air. And I was super excited. I was talking to Ben about this off air. I'm like, great, maybe I can try them on virtually because I've got a large shoe size and shoes look weird sometimes when they get stretched out. You can't do that with this. Not yet, anyway.
No, but it's a really good idea.
You would
honestly.
Get to and then you can share that you've enjoyed your Nike sneakers with other people on Facebook Messenger, and it doesn't show up as snazzy as this does.
And then you can create a memory and share that moment. And there's a lot of
remember when I shared this moment with you?
It's about a Nike shirt.
It's perfectly.
4 years ago, you were in a Facebook VR memory.
Before you had feet, because there was only like those floating bodies that are like chest up.
That's right. That's right. I did not like the weird floating bodies, but whatever.
I guess everyone wants to be an animated, better version of themselves, right? Better than what Samsung's got.
Oh, that's low.
Yeah. So one other aspect that we hadn't touched on yet was this first-person accounts from floods and disasters. Now, this is obviously an area that could have fake news implications, especially during a major event. Sometimes fake news starts flooding in. So I thought it was interesting that they mentioned that and they referenced that we want to provide people with more information during some of those difficult times, whether it's a flood or a fire or whatever. But I think they're obviously going to have to be vigilant and hopefully do a better job than they have with Facebook videos, where like they introduced their live video service, and that had controversy after controversy related to that as well.
You mean just like a source for people to go to? Hey, something's going down. Let me you'll start to think about going to Facebook to get your information for it instead of going to Google or whatever.
Twitter,
it may be.
Or
usually.
Twitter. Twitter especially, but it's been seen for a lot of these services that you really have to vet the stuff because just because it shows up immediately doesn't mean that it's actually accurate. So.
And then you can have a watch party about it. What? I'm not sure how that fits in.
I don't know.
But there was a lot of that talk too about the different ways to interact while you're watching something to keep you really more engaged, not just like passively watching, but to actively, have a conversation. We were saying too, isn't that what you do on Twitter when you're watching something? You go to Twitter to talk about it. So they're trying to,
bridge all that. Mr. E, he said that it seems like Facebook is going after Snapchat, Reddit, and Pinterest because we were talking about Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram, all the changes, but then we had to run away because the video came back. There's a lot of features, especially in Instagram, when it comes to that Explore feature that seems like it is similar to Pinterest, which is a weird thing to even go after because I didn't really think that was something to steal from. But
they were talking about what kids making slime and recipes, and so you could be discovering, different creative ideas that way. That's true.
Speaking of that, the 3D images. What did you think of those?
Wait. Oh, you mean like the fake? Here's a picture of my kid, but if I tilt it slightly, I can see that they have some depth.
Like the parallax effect on an iPhone.
Yes, exactly, parallax effect. I find that kind of okay.
I give it a C-.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? If I saw a lot of those and I'm scrolling fast, I don't know. I'm prone to motion sickness. Yeah, I'll be like, because I turn parallax effect off. I think it's good for the photo here and there, but obviously I think the VR stuff is more wow to me from a reporter perspective, I guess.
It's just it makes me think that they're just constantly trying to barrage you with memories and feelings.
It was really real.
It'd be like I was really there.
And maybe I'll connect more, and my heart will be bursting with love more if I see you have a cheek that is a little cuter to pinch.
Well, that is goodwill. They can put that on their financial documents, right? So if the goodwill for Facebook is better, I love Facebook, and now they can say their goodwill is worth more as an asset. That's some accounting stuff right there. It's exciting. I know. I just ground this to a halt. That's what I'll do.
All right. Well, aside from the Pinterest, they said about Reddit, right? And that was the upvoting, downvoting is official. That is something that is coming. So that way, once again, letting the people police how yucky comments get. I don't have faith in people.
It's interesting though that commenter didn't mention Twitter though, but I guess those are a lot of main areas to look at. Facebook in general, and we've seen this with Snapchat and to a certain extent Twitter, Facebook will always try to find what its competitors are doing that it really likes, and you could use the word steal if you wanted to, or borrows, or
no, I'm gonna use steal.
Yeah, it goes and it takes them and it uses them for its own benefits because a lot of this stuff isn't like patentable. Like a Snapchat filter is not patentable, and if people on Facebook want to use it, Mark Zuckerberg's argument is we want to let you do that. Yeah.
It's about keeping you on longer. Any other questions we're getting on Twitter? Hashtag CNET Live.
I will keep looking, but I'm not seeing a heck of a lot here. Maybe if I was using Facebook and I was connecting better with the people, but I'm not. It's about building relationships with this, and I don't have much here.
Well, let's see. One thing about the photo things you were talking about, wasn't that coming soon? I was making some notes on my computer here about things that were coming very, very soon. It all felt like it was within weeks or the next month. With the Oculus venues, the live concert that was happening at the end of the month.
The interactive 3D posts are going to be coming next month.
Yeah.
You can bring objects in Facebook camera with AR, that whole thing with the mixer.
So if you buy a mixer for somebody, this is the next month to do it.
I guess I have to buy a mixer now, and I have to give it to somebody else.
Or we could send it to you, and we'll see if we actually want to talk virtually about it, as opposed to in real life.
Yes, no, talking in real life is a terrible idea, for sure. Yeah, but they also did a lot of AR. AR was like a big thrust that was,
and
throughout
3D
this
photos
entire
are in the
presentation.
summer. The 3D photos things, it's sometime in the summer. That's when that's coming out. The whole memory assistant thing is very interesting space I think we're getting into. I mean, I know I say Black Mirror, but it is the interesting space of just like, encouraging you to upload more. So that way you do have those, 4 years ago, do you remember doing this thing? I got a Facebook reminder 5 years ago on this very day. I got Google Glass to review. That was, 5 years ago, we're all talking about the weird privacy implications of having a camera on your face. here we are now 5 years later talking about different kinds of privacy implications and weird features and putting other kinds of tech on your face. So how much changes in 5 years, I don't know. But if only I could reconstruct that memory and actually live that day.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going.
I'm at the Oculus site right now because it's available. The Oculus Go is available for pre-sale, or available for order, excuse me. And you just see all these happy people in these headsets. I don't know, when I put my headset on, I don't know what anybody else is looking like. Maybe they're happy or unhappy, but
They're
apparently
all giving me rabbit ears. That's what I'm assuming.
Everyone is thrilled when you are in VR, clearly. It's like, yes, look at this. It's hilarious that you bonked your head on the
I'm hearing you describe it.
It's really, I mean, they try to make it more social. And that, like I keep saying about VR, it's so isolated. And trying to find a social way, and Facebook trying to make sure that it is not just you in a room, although they do explain you can watch things together and you can watch movies together, you can watch sports together. Still, it's so singular. It's like, okay, you guys, I can't really see you. Just let me know. Oh, here we go. It just seems not natural. And I don't know how that's going to work.
But hey, if I can play Boggle with you.
Then all is forgiven.
I think it works better for, if you want to play Boggle with your, cousin overseas or something like that. If you're in a room with a bunch of other people and you're strapping in a VR headset, then you're taking yourself out of that conversation. But looking at the hardware for this, I think they at least got a lot of things right for VR that could help it push more into the mainstream than maybe some of the other hardware has been out there before. It's not using the phone, so you don't have to like strap in the phone. That's less for you to do. You just put the thing on, and that makes it easier. You don't have to buy a really expensive PC. So, and yeah, we were talking before, $200, maybe that's not our price point, but maybe it is for a lot of people.
It's
just
baby
to test it
steps,
out.
right? It's baby steps to give you more reasons. All right, before we wrap, let's take a step back from where you were before it started to now. What are your overall takeaways and feelings?
I think that Facebook mitigated some of the bad press by introducing all kinds of silly features, the dog, one of them, the hardware being available right now. I think they did a good show showing off what to expect from Facebook over time. They kept hitting on privacy, they kept explaining, hey, look, we want to make you safe, and they tried to make us have that all feel-good moments, and it's about relationships and interconnections and all that stuff. I think they did a decent job with that.
Yeah, I think from a reporter perspective, I appreciate that Mark Zuckerberg started the presentation and spent an extended time of the presentation talking about the tough issues. And that, to me, at least conveyed the fact that he wasn't tone deaf about how bad things had been more recently. And, hopefully they are going to address this stuff and continue to address it.
I was pleasantly surprised that when they introduced dating on Facebook, it actually wasn't as creepy as it could have been, at least from the surface of how much is involved. It's not just scanning you to figure out what kind of person you are, because they could do that. They have the data to match you with someone based on what their computer thinks. Instead, it's something that you choose to do, and you can see people in a certain event to go to. So I'm like, all right, maybe they're getting the point. Maybe they're getting the message about caring a little bit more about how they're using their data wisely. And another takeaway was, looking at all the different ways that these developers, it was for developers, but how developers could put their brands and their businesses into our Messenger more and into our stickers of our WhatsApp and Instagram moments. I think we're going to just be seeing more advertisements in new ways. Maybe not the same ways, but they're finding ways to still make money. All right, well.
Definitely.
I think that's going to be it for us over there. Now, be sure, though, to stay with CNET all week long. We're going to be covering this for a couple days, giving analysis of our takes on all these experiences. Thank you for watching. Thanks for venting with us and being part of this big therapy session. Thanks to Ayaz and Ben for getting us through it all. And be sure to keep refreshing CNET all week long for our FA coverage. I'm Bridget Carey.
I'm Ayaz Akhtar.
I'm Ben Fox-Rubin.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
Well, how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
If I'm emailing within WhatsApp, does that ever inform your advertisers?
No, we don't see any of the content in WhatsApp. It's fully encrypted.
Right, but is there some algorithm that spits out some information to your ad platform? And then, let's say I'm emailing about Black Panther within WhatsApp. Do I get a Black Panther banner ad?
Senator, Facebook systems do not see the content of messages being transferred over WhatsApp.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking about whether these systems talk to each other without a human being touching it.
Senator, I think the answer to your specific question is if you message someone about Black Panther on WhatsApp, it would not inform any ads.
Okay.
There have been reports that Facebook can track a user's internet browsing activity even after that user has logged off of the Facebook platform. Can you confirm whether or not this is true?
Senator, I want to make sure I get this accurate, so it would probably be better to have my team follow up.
So you don't know?
I know that people use cookies on the internet, and that you can probably correlate activity between sessions. We do that for a number of reasons, including security and including measuring ads to make sure that the ad experiences are the most effective, which, of course, people can opt out of.
Will Facebook offer to all of its users a blanket opt-in to share their privacy data with any third-party users?
Congresswoman, yes, that's how our platform works. You have to opt in to sign into any app before you use it.
Could somebody call you up and say, I want to see John Kennedy's file?
Absolutely not.
Could you, would you do it? Could you do it?
In theory.
Do you have the right to put my data, a name on my data, and share it with somebody?
I do not believe we have the right to do that.
Do you have the ability?
Senator, the data is in the system, so...
Do you have the ability?
Technically, I think someone could do that, but that would be a massive breach. So we would never do that.
It would be a breach. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Senator Baldwin's up next.
Thank you, Mr.